Hey guys, okay, so it's afternoon here, but I just woke up because it's a Saturday, okay, just to relax. So I just want to share with you the message that was, put across by EFF in regards to what happened in South Africa, where one Elvis Nyathi was killed, right? And also we saw Operation Dudula leader posting something on his social media page saying that he doesn't mourn, okay, one person. It seemed, and he was also condemning the media for the coverage that they've given this incident, saying we have had a lot of people, dying in South Africa. So why should we just mourn for this one person? That was posted on Facebook. And also we also saw people condemning, the South African police, that why is it that the place where Elvis was killed has never been made a crime scene? There are no investigations going on. It's nothing, like absolutely nothing. It's just like, it's just a dog that was just hit by a car and people are living their lives. So those are some of the things that are being condemned by the people. But anyway, let me just share with you a message that was, delivered by EFF when they visited Dispute, where the family was. Okay, now let's just listen to this. Are you live now? Okay. My father was a kitchen girl. My father was a garden boy. That's why sorry, may I please? Thank you very much, fighters. We're going to allow people of media here to interview our leadership. Thank you very much. Commissioners now will address this. Sure. So we came here today as the Economic Freedom Fighters to pay our last respects to the family and the loved ones of Elvis Nyathi, who was brutally murdered after a door-to-door raid by a vigilante grouping here in Diepsloot. And we had an engagement with the widow, who was a mother of four, who has indicated to us what happened on the night exactly. So we were told that there was a raid in the early hours of Wednesday morning where people were doing door-to-door here in the same way we've seen it happening in Soweto and Alexandria, demanding passports from the residents here in Diepsloot. And unfortunately, Elvis Nyathi on that occasion was unable to provide his passport to these individuals who have made themselves enforcers of a DOM pass system, because it comes to be that now we must prove their identity in order to be living in Diepsloot, Soweto, and Alexandra. So his inability to provide a passport meant his death, because they dragged him out of his home. They beat him. Firstly, they beat him and they beat his wife. After taking his husband out of that home, they demanded guns from the wife, and she said they don't have any guns here. And they were beating her with a shambok, demanding these guns. And when these guns were not found, after they put a very small shack upside down, they then demanded from her money if she wants the return of her husband. She said she doesn't have any money. They said, give us whatever you have. She said she has 50 rand. And they took that 50 rand and they said, then we will see what we will do with your husband. It was at that point in which he was dragged, tied up, beaten and burnt alive. And he unfortunately did not survive that attack. So as the EFF, we are here to pay our respects. We are here to mourn with the widow, the family. And it is unfortunate because there are occasions as a political party where you make predictions and analysis in terms of what will happen politically, just reading a situation. We read the situation in Soweto when an elderly man's house was raided. We read the situation in Alexandra, where people's houses are being hijacked and resold and sold again on a market by people who are targeting those they call foreigners in our country. And we did say that if this is not stopped, it can end in a loss of life. And this is one of those unfortunate occasions where we wish we were wrong, and we weren't. So we've paid our respects here, And I think the message that we must be able to send out, not only to South Africans, but the continent, is that what happened to Elvis Nyathi is not a representation of who South Africans are. The banning of a human being alive simply because they do not have a document is not a representation of who South Africans are. And we send our deepest apologies to the people of Zimbabwe and to the people of Africa for subjecting another human being who has the same color of skin that we have to such brutality and torture. So we send those condolences. And another caution I think we must be able to register and send out is that the popular media, and particularly the SABC, which is a public broadcaster that can reach each and every corner in this country, must be cautious of giving platform to misleading narratives, as if there is an onslaught or war waged by foreign nationals on South Africans in South Africa. It's not true. So this matter comes after allegations that 7 South Africans were killed by foreign nationals here in Diepsloot over the past weekend. That is not true. And this narrative has been able to survive in popular media without question. And it's coming out now from police statements that about 5 people have been killed in Diepsloot over a period from October 2021 till the last week. And there's no confirmation that these murders were inflicted by foreign nationals. But because we are become accustomed to scapegoating foreign nationals for crimes in this country, scapegoating the lack of service delivery by the ANC to foreign nationals, this narrative has been allowed to survive. So broadcasters must be careful that, especially that you have access to rural people in Matatiele, in Khayelitsha, in Mpumalanga, in Pampierstad, in Ditsobotla, and Leboahong. Do not give an impression to South Africans that foreign nationals are the criminals in chief in this country. It is not true. It is not corroborated by science, not corroborated by statistics. The people in the jails of South Africa are South Africans in the majority. The people in the holding cells of our police stations in majority are South Africans. The people who are beating their wives, abusing their children, committing the crimes in this country, it's ourselves. And we must reflect on what is happening in our communities and what we're doing to each other as South African people, and not run away from that. Let's not run away from the fact that we protect criminals in our homes and try and find a criminal simply because they do not have a passport and identify them like that. So we must be careful collectively as a country from spreading fake news that can lead to a loss of life in the same way that it has done here. So we don't want to stay long here. We've allowed the family that has left this home because of safety reasons, and we can't disclose where they've gone. But those criminals who killed Elvis Nyathi confiscated his wife's passport so that they can come on in a later stage and come and evict her here on the basis that she doesn't have a passport. This is the modus operandi of these criminals. And we must condemn collectively the South African police services, who we saw this morning doing door-to-door raids in Diepsloot. And when a person cannot provide a passport, they ask them to explain what an elbow is in Shitsong. This is what led to the murder of our people in Boipatong in the early 90s. If you couldn't say Ndololwane, you get killed. Based on the texture of their hair, based on the color of their skin in terms of darkness, and based on their dialect. And it must be condemned. The police must not sink to the level of vigilante groups simply to please them and conduct random door. I mean, I don't have my ID on me now. They could come here now and ask me for my ID. What happens when I say I don't have it? How do I identify myself as a South African? Must I speak isiXhosa for them to realize that I'm South African? So we must not allow ourselves as a nation to descend to the levels of a vigilante group that is simply a syndicate. And we must not allow ourselves to tag these vigilantes as communities. It's not communities. Watch the news every morning. The SABC newsroom interview the people on these streets. One of them this morning said they must arrest the people who burnt Elvis Nyathi, because the criminals in Diepsloot are the people of Diepsloot. They are the people of South Africa. We know who they are. So let's not give vigilante groups, murderers, invaders of homes, thieves, the cover and the blanket of calling themselves communities. They are not communities. They do not represent the collective will of communities. Our communities are not murderers. Our communities don't burn people alive. It is people without a conscience who have taken advantage of the lack of service delivery in this country to attack innocent, defenseless people. So that is our message today. Thank you very much.
We have one question. If you say that the family has been taken to a place of safety, then who did you meet with the family?
The family came to meet us here today because even we don't know the location exactly, and I think it's safer that way. That it must be within the circle of the family to know where they are located right now. When we asked the chairperson of the region to organize a meeting with the family, the widow particularly today, it was the family that advised that let's meet at that home, and then we'll return to the place where we've been relocated. So we met with the widow, the sister of Elvis Nyathi was also here, the brother of Elvis Nyathi was also here, and they're advising that they'll be proceeding with the burial ceremony next week. They haven't disclosed the exact date, but they are still working around those logistics, which we will be able to assist with as well. But we met with those family members, and they, of course, have left now back to a place of safety because they do fear re-victimization. And it's highly likely because if the police are doing what they're doing now, of asking people to pronounce certain body parts to confirm their South African identity, that means they are highly likely to be victimized. And the widow, particularly as a witness who knows the faces of the people who came here, is highly in danger. So they were here simply to meet with us, and we've also respected their decision not to disclose their location of safety, and we think it's best.
Okay, so just up the road, you seem to have something that looks like a membership campaign of sorts. Why have you chosen to have one and hold one right now, and particularly in Dudula?
The EFF has been running a 1 million membership campaign since February. So it's an ongoing campaign of the economic freedom fighters, not only in Dipswood, but across the country. And we have, of course, disrupted that. All the fighters are here now. They came to send their condolences. And but that campaign is part and parcel of combating actions that have happened recently in this week. It's only through an organization with a conscience that does not other and criminalize foreign nationals that will be able to gain proper economic freedom and an understanding of who the enemy is in society. So we're doing that qualitative and quantitative recruitment process to be able to rescue South Africa from diversions such as vigilante groups, which are sponsored by the ruling party and endorsed by the ruling party. Because the existence of groups such as this, which blame crime on foreign nationals, which blame collapsing hospitals on foreign nationals, which blame unemployment on foreign nationals, serves the ANC. Because it makes us not hold the ANC accountable, but blame a minority of foreign nationals who are working as garden boys and kitchen girls for the collective problems of our country. So you must not think that the ANC is speaking in double tongues by coincidence. These vigilante groups are no different from the alliance partners of the ANC. They are no different from SANCO. They are no different from SACP. They are no different from COSATU. They are a product of the ANC. In order to divulge or diverge the direct attack on holding the ANC accountable for the collapse of South African society. So they are a product of the ANC, and going into 2024, they are trying to capture the anti-immigrant sentiment and anti-immigrant vote. So they're going to sponsor a lot of diversions so that our people don't hold them accountable directly. So the EFF has to grow its capacity to ensure that the ANC is not successful in its program of repeating what happened in Boipatong, repeating what happened in Sibuke, in terms of murdering black people in defense of a regime.
Okay, now in terms of a statement that was issued out by the Premier of Gauteng in a report that just a little bit earlier on, he did mention that there are allegations and investigations that might suggest that there is a group of a gang going around terrorizing the community of Dipswood. Are you aware of this information? And there are allegations that there might be some undocumented migrants or foreign nationals which form part of that particular group. What would be your thoughts and your message if there is such a group to those people trying to do that?
They must be arrested. But criminality doesn't have a nationality. So you can't want to fight crime and reduce it to identity. So you don't arrest a person who has robbed a bank and say Xhosa arrested for robbing ABSA. You don't arrest a person who has abducted a child or raped a child and say CPD person arrested for abduction and rape. You arrest a criminal, you arrest a rapist, you arrest a robber, you arrest a criminal. So why is there a national distinction or a nationality-based distinction on people committing crime? Criminals must be arrested because they are criminals. The danger of attaching identity or ethnicity to criminals is that you get a group targeted on the basis of who they are. We must fight against that. That's our comment in terms of that. Let's give newsroom because you're dominating.
Oh yeah. Amidst their grief, the Nyathi family still has to arrange, the funeral of their patriarch Elvis. Right? You've just mentioned not too long ago that his widow's documents have been taken by the group which you identify or describe as a vigilante mob, right? So, what support will you be giving to the family, especially going towards the funeral?
Look, the spokesperson, Leanne Matisse, has advised that we should reach out to the Zimbabwean embassy primarily to assist in documentation, not only for the widow, but also for the body to be taken back to Zimbabwe so that Elvis Nyathi can rest in peace. So we'll be assisting with regards to that. We'll be keeping in touch with the family to see whatever assistance they need. We're going to be there for them because it's painful that we are told the Minister of Police hasn't come here. The MEC of Gauteng, David Makura, hasn't come to see this family. And it's because it's not convenient. It's not convenient to vote to visit the family of the dead Zimbabwean man, Elvis Nyathi. Because the popular narrative is that Zimbabweans or foreign nationals are the enemy in South Africa. So they can't visit this family because it doesn't serve the purpose of votes. It doesn't serve the purpose of populism. So it's not something to be proud of, but the EFF has been here as the first political party because we understand that you don't have to be popular to be human. You don't have to fall into the popular narrative of what people are feeling to be a human being. It's our duty to educate the people of Diepsloot that you should not murder a human being because they don't have a passport. We should not enforce a modern dom-pass system in South Africa where people need to prove that they are from here in order for them to be hired. So it's our responsibility as society. So we're going to support this family unashamedly because we are not in it for votes. We are human beings who have seen a tragedy happen here and we're going to pledge our support.
Yeah, the genesis of where we are now is that residents in this community have been saying that over the past weekend, specifically, about 7 people were killed. Whether that number is accurate or not, there have been murders in the area. So there's also been questions being asked. Why is it that political formations such as your own are now only focusing on the victims such as Elvis Nyathi and not going to those families of those South African victims?
You know, the townships of South Africa are characterized by murder. So if we were to use that logic, the EFF would be visiting a home each and every day. Go to any township in this country, there's a mass of funerals of young black boys, young females who have been murdered, maimed on the streets of our townships. So it's whataboutism. It's okay, what about this? But we are here now. I mean, if we will be able to identify any murders that have happened in Diepsloot over the past few days. We are not saying the people of Diepsloot are illegitimate for saying there's a problem of crime in Diepsloot. We can agree with them. There's a problem of crime all over South Africa in each and every township. There's murder every single day. And it must come to an end. But that crime cannot be attributed to foreign nationals primarily as the primary enemy of our people. It's not true. It's not scientific. It's not based on statistical data. So we're saying that we must be able to pledge support to something so heinous. A human being was burnt alive. I mean, Elvis Nyathi did not sell drugs, didn't human traffic anyone, didn't abuse anyone, wasn't a criminal, was a garden boy. In terms of what is characterized in South Africa historically, he was a person who works in a garden of white people. He didn't do anything. So why was he burnt alive? So that is our understanding of that. So people must not try and raise what about this and what about that, because we must be able to fight crime collectively as a society and not kill people and go on raids, because that is illegal. That is vigilantism, and it's unsustainable because you end up harming and killing innocent people because you're allowing outrage or anger to take over instead of allowing the law to take its course.
There you have it. That's EFF national spokesperson.
Okay, so this was EFF who visited Diepsloot to go and talk to the family of Elvis, okay, of Elvis Nyathi. And also we saw there's a controversial post that was put by Nhlanhla on Facebook, where he was saying they are not going to be mourning for only one person, okay, because there are a lot of South Africans who are also dead, so they're not going to be mourning only this one person. And also they were accusing the media of, covering this issue of Elvis too much, okay, more than they cover other issues, regarding South Africans, all right, okay. And then we also saw that in this area, in dispute, they've also started doing, door-to-door raids. Yesterday, police were there knocking from every door, asking people to produce IDs or their passports. And if you cannot, also be talking to you in South African languages, okay, that only locals may be able to, to speak, okay, those languages. They can ask you to name some board parts. We also saw that they were asking people to ask you, what is this, in a certain language, okay. So if you don't know what it is, so it means you're a foreigner, you don't belong there, okay. So people were being arrested on that ground. So, and also we saw some youth being, interviewed, and they were like saying, well, we want it to be like that. And people are like, are we not going back to the apartheid era, where if you don't have an ID, you're going to be arrested by the white people, you're going to be beaten or anything? So they were saying, we don't care whether we go back to the apartheid era, it's okay. All we're saying is you need to produce your ID or your passport so that we know if you are a South African or you are not. And so this is what is happening in dispute, and it's very, very tense. A lot of foreigners now, they are running away. Many foreigners, they've now left, okay. They've now left dispute, but still they're still in South Africa, and there even from other areas are now saying, okay, they also want to do the same. They also want to start doing all this door-to-door raids on houses, okay. But the issue is they're not really, because when you go into someone's house, you don't know who is in the house. You're also now starting to disturb even your own people, okay, who are South Africans. You're also starting to disturb them, because now when you say, give me your ID, someone say, what? Who are you? Are you the police? What power do you have to ask me for an ID? Okay, I'm South African, all right? So those issues are now some of the problems that you're seeing. And also because now you see, now there's EFF, there's Operation Dudula, and they're saying there are even more other groups that have come out now that are saying, well, we're also fighting for the community. We're also fighting, illegal immigrants. So there's now, conflict of interest in these groups, for popularity's sake. We saw this Operation Dudula going to dispute. They were saying, well, we are the ones who started this movement, and there were also another group saying, well, this is our community, we do what we want. Why is it that the Operation Dudula people are coming here to invade, okay, to take over our operation? So you see, there's now even conflict of interest among themselves. And because of this, we're going to be seeing more and more disturbances, because, criminals can also penetrate using those things, or saying we are fighting illegal immigrants in South Africa, and they're going to be, stealing, killing, and doing all sorts of things. And also because the focus now is only on foreigners, right? Local criminals, they are now, flying and living their lives normally, because no one is going to come and harass a local, even if they're a rapist, even if they're a murderer, even if they're doing all sorts of things. No one can come to them, because the focus is on foreigners being the criminals in South Africa. But in actual fact, you are living and harboring the real criminals with you in your home. So there are a lot of things that are now being exposed because of these issues of foreigners. But of course, we know that this is not just the beginning. It has been happening for over and over. But sometimes it comes in different names, okay? It comes in different names. Like this time around, we are seeing what is happening now, and they're promising that is going to be more and more and more. But of course, we are still following, and we just hope that one day people will come to and understand that a poor garden boy, just a poor maid, sweeping the street is not even your enemy, okay? It's not even your enemy. Your enemy are those people who are in power, who are the policy makers, those people who govern us. Those are our leaders, are the ones who are the enemy of us all right? If there wasn't any problems in our economies, if there wasn't any problems of corruption and everything, everyone would be living nice. Everybody will be, will be able to go to work. Everyone will be able to find jobs. But because there are no jobs, okay, we are looking at everyone. I'm not talking about South Africa only. I'm also talking about Zimbabwe. I'm also talking about Nigeria and many other Africans, okay? This is where the problem is emanating from. The root cause of all this is because of poor governorship, poor governance and poor leadership that we have, that has made corruption, to come and, and be like a normal thing in our society. At the end of the day, we find that people don't have jobs now, So this is the root problem. Unless this root problem is dealt with, unless this issue of unemployment, unless this issue of poor governance, of corruption, and many other things that are done by our leaders are corrected, we are still going to see people suffering. We are still going to see this kind of acts happening. Okay, people are just frustrated. Yes, we don't condone violence. We don't condone people killing other people and everything. But the real reason, the real culprits that need to be fought are the leaders. Okay, they are the leaders, the ones who put these things, and the ones who have put trouble on us, the ones who have created corruption, the ones who have, squandered the resources of the country that are supposed to be helping people. Those are the real culprits. Those are the people everyone should be focusing on. Those are the real people everyone should be protesting against, not to protest and to be fighting among us ourselves. We are hungry. All of us, we are hungry. All of us were just trying to survive. So there's no need for us to be fighting each other like that, okay? There's no need for us. Okay, let me just put the link, okay? Harlem, I'm going to put the link right now, okay? Let me put the link for you, okay? Just hold on. Let me put the link for you there. Okay, I have put the link now. Okay, if you see the link, you can connect there and I'll see you. If you want to join there, you can join. In fact, anyone who wants to join can actually join using that link that I have shared there. Da, 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 da. Okay. Is anybody coming? Is anybody joining? I can see. If anyone joins, I will immediately see, okay? If anyone joins there, I will immediately see. So, guys, this is what is happening in South Africa, okay? That's what is happening in South Africa. Like, while I'm waiting for someone to join me, let me just play for you something here.
Operation Dudula is the enemy of black people. Some of us were not fools. Some of us were not fools. A group of people going around, telling us that our problem is because of other black people. We're not going to be confused. We're not confused. Uniting to fight for a restaurant job, you call that a revolutionary? South African, young people, South African, let's unite and fight to be in the economy. Let's unite and fight for big businesses. Let's unite and fight to get the land. We can't be uniting for restaurant jobs. And you want to come here and tell me that it's a revolutionary. South Africa is humile, but there is money here. There's minerals here. But you are busy uniting, fighting for a tip. Come on, young people. There are big companies who have been eating even today. They're still eating. Your Marine Robert, your Group 4, all these white companies. But you don't see anything wrong about them. Why can't we unite and say, government, enough is enough? These big construction companies must be given to young black people. Why can't we unite for such things? Why can't we unite to be in the economy? Why can't we unite to own mines? Why can't we unite to get the land back? But no, you are uniting to get the tip. You are uniting for small things. We can't be. We can't be. You can't be uniting to fight for restaurant jobs. We can't be. Telling us no, crime, what. South Africa is a crime scene. It's a crime scene. That's not the problem of foreigners. It's the problem of government. And if government is failing, let young people unite and fight crime. Don't come here and tell me, no, we're fighting Zimbabwean or fighting Nigerians because they're doing crime. No, let's unite and fight crime, whether it's committed by South African or Nigerian or what. Let's not fight nationality. Let's fight crime. Don't go around harassing people, doing all the nonsense, and you think will support you.
Well. I put the link. Someone said they wanted to join the live stream here. So I have put the link, but I don't know. I don't know what is going on there. Someone wanted to join the live stream, to join the discussion. But it seems like, I don't know, maybe it's the problem with the link or what. I don't know. So anyway, I put up the link so anyone who wants to join can actually join using that link. You can just click on the link and it will take you straight into the stream, and then I am going to add you there, okay? And I'll be able to add you. So if you want to join, please join there. Anyone who wants to join can join using that link there. Okay. Let's see.
But I'm probably going to have to make similar videos, at least in the
Is someone joining the stream?
Okay. So women are segmented. They don't share the same values and beliefs just because they have a vagina and breasts.
What the hell is this?
So we need to understand that we're not the same. And I realized we're not the same. And in doing that, I looked deeper. I was like, I'm black, but now I'm black conscious. But even as black conscious, there are the black conscious that don't want to work with other people in there. And then I looked back on my life and I looked at all the good white people that had helped me
joining
in my life,
the stream.
all the good Indian people that had given me business advice, that had given me a little bit of funding or invested in my businesses, that had given me lifts to choir when I was a nobody. A white man who was my neighbor who funded my overseas trip with the provincial youth choir, the NKZN youth choir. He didn't know me from a bar of soap. I wasn't Penuel, the black pen with 100,000 followers on Facebook. I wasn't some cool kid somewhere. I was just a kid in need and he helped me out. Last year I got stuck. My car broke down on my way to Newcastle, KwaZulu, with a friend of mine. I've got a Chebe now, a black guy. I'm on the side of the road trying to stop cars and all the black people's cars are not stopping. Understandably, there's crime in this country. I understand. I would drive past as well. The person who stopped was a young Afrikaans man, wearing khakis, stopped with his bakkie. He didn't know me from a bar of soap and he decided to help me and he dragged me to the nearest town and he took me to a mechanic that he knew. I offered to pay him and he refused. He's like, yeah, man, it's all right. It humbled me because it reminded me there are good people out there. I'm a good person and I've met so many good white people, so many good Asian people. And I'm like, I cannot for the life of me go out there screaming black, black, black when there are so many good white and Asian people that have helped me. And when I know fundamentally there are so many rotten black people out there who are going to benefit from my fight when they haven't earned it. So many black people today, in politics in particular, have benefited in terms of tenders, political seats, business deals, who didn't fight during the struggle, who are actually sort of comfortable with whites being in charge, who are like, why are you guys fighting, man? You'll never take over white people. But conveniently today, they are enjoying the spoils of that. But you'll never know because they're just black. We don't know Cyril Ramaphosa's value system. All we know is that he's got a black skin and therefore he gets called a black president. We don't know Patrice Motsepe's value system. or Aliko Dangote's value system, or Oprah Winfrey's value system. All we know is that they are black-skinned, and therefore we feel like they are one of us. A lot of them are not. That's why they work with other people who are like them. Cyril doesn't work with random white people. Patrice doesn't work with random white people. They work with white people at their level of wealth, of understanding. They work with Indian people, Chinese people at their level. Jacob Zuma wasn't working with poor Indians from Phoenix. He was working with Indians that understood him and that funded him. The Guptas being one group, the Sheikh family being another group, the Reddy family, Vivian Reddy being another group. He worked with Charles Senegal, an Afrikaans man who loved Zuma. Those were his people of a different race. Zuma gets along with a white man who is foreign, that you guys know very well as Vladimir Putin. Good mates, they crack jokes. I think Zuma speaks something like 8 languages or something insane. Those are his people. It's not a black man, that. It's a white man. It's a white foreign man. But Zuma's like, hey, I see you. You, me and you, like this. With an African Arab, I don't know what he is, Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar not black. But Zuma and other people in South Africa saw that this guy shares our value system. Guys like Fidel Castro in Cuba, Hugo Chavez, Venezuela, I think. These are people who we share values with. We share values with them. I like them. Some of us like Elon Musk, a white man. Some of us like Donald Trump, a white man who seems racist or what. He had a value system that made sense to us. Then you see another black person who wants to kill blacks and oppress blacks. You're like, this guy is not, he's not my person, he's not my tribe. So I decided to let go of being pro-black. And I realized that I want to work with people that are of my value system. And that's when I built Penalism. And I've been trying to make a bit of noise to try and find my type of people that look beyond race, look beyond gender, and look beyond nationality. If we share values, I'm Jacob Zuma and I'm a black South African, and you are Muammar Gaddafi and you're Libyan, and you are Vladimir Putin, a white Russian man, and you are Fidel Castro, a guy in South America, and we share the same values, and you are Xi Jinping in China, and we share the same values, I'm willing to work with you because you're part of my tribe. We can build a bricks or whatever it is that you guys want to do. And that's what I'm doing. A lot of people are upset because, our history and the propaganda is real. One of the questions that we have to keep asking is, what is a foreigner? It's a very
Okay, now I think we have someone in the stream, but you are muted. I don't know what's going on. Okay, hello.
Hey, how you doing, Ziggy Media?
Hey, how
How
are
you
you
doing, Lil
doing?
Sis? God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you
God
so
bless the
much.
show. Yeah, I see you new out here. You know what I mean? You got your low. So let me ask you a question. What's the topic for the show?
Okay, right now we are talking about the issue that happened in South Africa, where a Zimbabwean black man was killed by local South Africans, being accused of, not having documentation that is being illegal and also being a criminal. So this is what we are talking about. I'm not sure if you came across the video, but it was a very, very gruesome matter where they to burn him alive.
I've heard about such attacks. They're crazy. I sympathize with the brothers and sisters from other countries other than South Africa. Me, myself, I'm FBA. I'm a foundational Black American.
Mm-hmm.
But I consider Africans to be my people as well. And I think it's a shame, I understand both sides. On one side, they don't want immigrants coming into the country and the government isn't doing anything about it. So that leaves it up to the citizens to enforce the immigration laws there in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
South Africa it's a great country, but it's just not big enough to support everyone.
Yes.
A lot of these immigrants, they take away from the locals that are native or foundational there. Foundational South Africans built South Africa. The infrastructure, everything you see there was built for free on the banks of South Africans, similar to what you have in America with foundational Black Americans. We built everything over here, you know, so they're gonna feel some type of way about immigrants coming in and not showing proper respect, taking jobs at lower wages, things like that. So as a result of what I just said, that's why you have what you have here, you know. On the other hand, I can't help but feel bad for my brothers and sisters from the other, you know, mainly from the west coast of Africa that may come there illegally and things like that, you know, behind that, you know. But that's the risk you take, you know. I don't. It's a crazy subject, you know. But at the end of the day, I would just say that other Africans throughout the diaspora, man, if you're gonna come to South Africa, just have the proper papers. Just do it the right way. Go about it the legal way. Don't be illegal, and definitely don't go there committing crimes and getting caught up in child trafficking and selling drugs and things like that. Don't do that. You know, because the South Africans, what this is a message that they're sending. And it's sad that they got to send this to their own brothers and sisters, but I'm not going to put this on the South Africans. You know, at the end of the day, y'all shouldn't be coming there illegal, period. So once you cross them borders illegally, what happened to you is a result of those actions. And that's how I feel.
Okay, so for you, so okay, overall, I hear you. You are saying if you are to go into someone else's country, just have the proper documentation, right?
Correct. Correct, sister. Correct.
Okay, so what about when we look at it on the political side?
On a political side in South Africa, the problem is that the government of South Africa, they're not enforcing these immigration laws the way they should. And the problem for that on the political side is that the corporations, the big corporations out there in South Africa, they support immigration because it benefits them. They get to pay people lower wages. They get to deny people proper health care. They get to deprive people union dues, overtime, everything that comes with working a job when you coming in as an immigrant from a worse place where you don't even get that. You know, the corporations, so the corporations is the ones generate most of the money, and they the ones paying off the politicians that have it their way. So they're allowing immigrants to come in there. But that puts South African natives in a position where not only do they gotta go at the politicians and and put them in place, but they gotta go at the immigrants too that's coming in there being disrespectful. Because they're not gonna be overran in their home country. It's just not gonna happen. So, you know, to demonize the South African people and say, oh, they're xenophobic and this, that, and the third, I think that's unfair. It's not a xenophobia. You know, you can't come in here child trafficking. You can't come in here setting up drug dens. You can't, we just not gonna tolerate that. And either you respect it or you don't. Now, if you got people doing that and something happened to them, I'm telling you, that's on them. You had no business coming in there illegally and doing all that in the first place. You thought it was sweet. So in the government, like I said, the corporations encourage immigration. We have the same thing in America. We got all kind of Latinos, Nigerians too, all kind of people just crossing, coming into America. And what they bring is a very negative element. First of all, they thirsty. They come from a failed culture. They ain't got nothing popping where they at. So they come here with that negative cutthroat mentality and they lump them in with us. They just lump them in with us. So you might hear about some shit that happened in New York and not even realize that was, yeah, it was a black person, but it was a black immigrant. Okay. But they'll just automatically say this is just black American. No, we're not standing for that, you know. So Hey man, it is what it is. Just don't go there with the bullshit. And if you're gonna go there, make sure you got your papers right. Bottom line.
Okay,
South
so
Africans ain't playing.
okay, so in other ways, you are supporting, you are supporting the, the activities of the local South Africans who are saying, we don't want any illegal immigrants in our country. You need to go. So you are in support of what they are doing, right?
Yes, completely, 100% in support of what they do.
Okay, okay, okay. Now, while we understand what you're saying, that you are supporting what the South Africans are saying, that illegal immigrants should, but the problem will that is there is now, the issue of violence. Okay, the issue of violence on on foreigners, targeted on foreigners only, in particular Zimbabweans. That is the issue that we are having now. So, what's your comment on that?
I mean, the violence is terrible. I hate it. I don't want to see black people killing black people. I don't want to see South Africans killing Nigerians and people like that. Notice this though. South Africans don't really get into it with people from Zambia, or different countries like that out there in Africa. So it depends. But when you come in there with a opportunistic mentality, you're only looking to exploit. You're only looking to get what you can get for yourself and your own immediate family. I can't fault South Africans. I can't fault the violence that I'm seeing. I can't be mad at the violence that I'm seeing because you're coming in there with ill intent. You clearly see that you coming in here illegally is causing damage. You're taking away opportunities. You're hurting the people that are from there, that are foundational of that place. And I can't fault the violence. Yes, the violence, I don't like to see one black man killing another black man, burning them up like that. But you talking about black men that's coming in there selling drugs, trying to child traffic and things like that. Like, come on. And
Okay,
I
I
see
understand. Now, also, there's been some issues like, local South Africans are saying foreigners are taking away our jobs. But when we look closely, we are finding that foreigners are doing, menial jobs. They are gardeners, they are, restaurant workers. So people are saying, what kind of jobs, are the people or are foreigners taking away from South Africans? What kind of jobs? Because there are no jobs already.
well, you have jobs in South Africa that require some kind of skill. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a cashier at AMP or ShopRite. I know ShopRite is big out there. Every job is not a cashier or taxi driver or something like that. There are jobs that's considered menial, but it's middle class.
Hmm.
Jobs like being a butcher, jobs like being a chef. There's different jobs out there, and it's not even about them taking the jobs. It's just the fact that when you come here, you drive the wages down. The menial jobs that people live off of, yes, we take those jobs. Some of us take those jobs. We might be young when we take it and move up in life and get bigger and better jobs where we become more skilled in a different trade or something. But we start off taking those jobs. So, it's just like in Harlem, where I'm from. I'm from Harlem, New York City, right? When I was a kid, kids, when I was about 10 years old, kids could go to the supermarket and pack bags for money. I noticed that with the
Mm,
influx of immigrants, you had grown ass immigrants, Mexicans,
mm,
Dominicans, Ecuadorians, packing bags. These are grown ass men. You're taking the job of a 10-year-old, but you don't give a
okay.
fuck because you're coming from a place where ain't nothing popping. You're starving. You don't have, it's fucked up. I get it. It's fucked up. What I
Mm,
don't like
mm,
is when you come over here and you turn your nose up at us and say that we're lazy and we're this, that, and the third, and you try to shame us.
yeah.
That's what I
Okay.
don't like.
Now
So
I
you're not
understand
just
that.
you're not just coming over here taking jobs,
Mm,
but you're coming over here showing vitriol toward
mm,
us.
mm. Yeah, also there's been some issues of why there are, that accusations rather that these South African locals, they only fight poor people, they just fight those people that they are on their reach, but they don't really go and fight like the big drug lords who are in the, on the flashy suburbs, like the Sandton areas. They just go and fight these poor, helpless people. So what's your comment on that?
I tell them to make up their mind. One minute we're reading in the newspaper how the South Africans then took over South Africa and they treating the white people like shit. And the whites then became poor. And then the next minute I'm hearing about how the South Africans don't want to fight against the whites and the people that's really controlling and dominating everything. Make up your mind. Which one is it gonna be? Because just a minute ago, y'all was talking about how the locals in South Africa forced the government to give them land that rightfully belonged to them. South Africans have fought for reparations and shit. They good. Y'all all up in South African people business, and they actually doing good, a lot better than y'all. Get y'all shit in order. So no, when people trying to say that South Africans are cowards and they only want to fight other blacks, I think that's bullshit. That's the same stigma they try to put on foundational Black Americans. When we the reason why you have immigrants of color, whether they be African or Latino or whatever, East Indian, Filipino, we the reason why they able to come here because we fought. So which one is it gonna be? Oh, we complain too much, or we passive and don't complain at all. You're not gonna run that bullshit on us. No, the South Africans, I respect them because they're very similar to FBA in the sense that they do complain. They will raise their voice when something get crazy and they don't like it. They're not gonna be in a situation where they don't have fresh water and things like that. No, they're gonna make sure the government provide that for them. So I give them their props. So I don't believe that South Africans just attack other black people. That's bullshit. They've been fighting the balls for years. Come on, let's keep it real.
Okay, but still, when we look at the situation that is happening in South Africa, we do have like these groups, that are involved in what is happening in the fight against illegal immigrants. But again, we are seeing that it seems like these groups are divided among themselves. Others are saying, well, let's leave, foreigners, let's work together, let's be one. And another group is saying, well, we don't want foreigners, we don't want these illegal immigrants and this and that. So we even them South Africans themselves, they are divided among themselves when it comes to this topic. You understand? So again, it
Hmm.
brings us to ask like which is which.
Well, that's where me and you differ. I'm FBA, you're South African, right? You're foundational South Africans. I'm foundational Black American. Where we differ at is the fact that you're the majority in your country and we're the minority in ours. The country that we built and was the foundation of everything, the whole culture. You think of the traffic light that comes from foundational Black Americans. You think of the train station, the third rail that comes from us. The light bulb that comes from us. All the music genres. You just think of it. Anything coming out of American culture was we the foundation of, and we built this country. Same thing with South Africans. The only difference is that you guys are the minority. I mean, you guys are the majority, and we're the minority. So you outnumber the whites. So what you guys got to do is get on code and realize that you got to be a little bit selfish. You got to worry about yourself. You got to put yourself first. But you guys are the majority over there. And that's the difference between you and me. Y'all got to get on code, man, and do what y'all got to do for yourselves. I really don't have much of an opinion on that because that's a South African
Mm.
affair.
But you see, when you come to think of it, when you come to look close, you find that the issue of immigrants, especially those coming from Zimbabwe, has been there for decades. The government of South Africa has done really, at one time they even offered, special permits for only Zimbabweans, of which some of these permits they're still running up until now, but they've said they're not going to be renewing those permits, which means by the end of this year, this is the grace period that Zimbabwean, people have been given to change to other types of visas. So you can see that even South Africa itself had accommodated Zimbabweans, coming into there because of these Zimbabwean economic problems. But again, South Africa has the voice, South Africa has the voice to condemn to condemn what was happening
Well,
in Zimbabwe. But they
like I
said
told you,
nothing. In
sis.
actual fact, they accommodated Zimbabweans into South Africa without condemning the real problem, without speaking against the real problem. So this is another issue again.
Like I told you, sis, that goes back to what we were speaking on earlier. It's the corporations. One of the largest corporations in South Africa, which has stores, like you got restaurants and shit, it's all under ShopRite. A lot of them. So you have these corporations. The corporations, they're the people that come to South Africa and build industry for people to get jobs and work. It helps build the economy, right? Y'all great. Y'all got that on lock in Africa. But the problem is the corporations benefit off of workers that are immigrants. They don't have to pay them as much. They don't have to respect their rights. They're illegal. They're practically invisible. They prefer them over you. What y'all can't do is allow that to happen in your country. So what you got to do is put pressure on your government, which in turn is going to have to put pressure on the corporations that control them, because they're being controlled by the corporations and the money that the corporations generate. It's a reason why you got, ShopRite and Woolworth is a big industry out there in all these different places, you dig? So y'all gotta put this what we do in America. When we get on cold, when we want something, we get on cold. All of us together, we get on cold, and we just don't. We won't vote, or we won't do this, or we just don't participate, and then we'll wail out too, and that put pressure on them because they need us. These politicians, they need y'all vote. They need it. They need your support. Without y'all support, everything will fall apart. So y'all just got to get on code and get them to do what y'all want them to do. And they just gonna have to break bread, period. You know what I mean? So you should push that more for South Africans to get on code. And the immigration thing is a perfect thing to get on code on, just to get all of y'all on page as one, because that's something that affects all of y'all.
Okay, I'll ask you one more question. There has been talk, by all these groups about one Africa, open borders. Let's open the borders. Let's all be free to move freely in Africa because Africa is for us all. What do you think about the, open borders?
That's not a good idea, man. You guys, we can do what we can for you, but we're not just gonna let you. Look, Africa is tribal as hell. So all this kumbaya talk, we all one people, we all the same, blah blah blah. Listen, we're all tribal. We all have the same DNA and ancestry, but we're different groups at this point. My people been in America for over 500 years. I don't know nothing about Africa culturally. I'm just keeping it real. The only thing we have in common is skin color. So all this, no, you're gonna hold your own nuts. I'm not gonna hate on you or try to undermine you, but at the same time, I can't be the only one that's making money and doing it, and everybody else is broke and fucked up, and it's my responsibility because we all look the same. It's my responsibility to feed and take care of everybody. Hell no. Things don't work that way. You're gonna have to hold your own nuts, because what's gonna happen if you have that mentality, and this is what happened to FBA, people will come in and take advantage of that, and then they will become entitled, and they'll feel like, hey, whatever's given to a South African should be given to me, even though I'm not a South African. No, nigga, you did not build this country. This has nothing to do with you. We looked out for you. We did what we could. Take that and be happy. No, that whole kumbaya thing. Oh, we all African. That's cool. Yeah, we are. We should respect each other. If we all African, why you want to immigrate into South Africa as an illegal immigrant and undermine me if we're all brothers? Come on, man, get out of here with that.
Okay, so you are against the open borders, the one Africa, okay? Anyway, I'm just going to read for you a comment by someone here. Daughter of the Soil says, in America, do you burn people alive because they are undocumented? Let's not minimize such ruthless crimes. Maybe have a good background to the story first before condoning evil. They went on to say, America and South Africa are different ball games. Don't project your experiences onto South Africa. The land issue and white monopoly capital are a real contention in South Africa.
This my response to that would be there was some illegal people from Colombia. They came into America illegally, right? A whole family of them. They decided to set up a drug cartel in Queens, New York. They were selling drugs illegally. They were working with Americans. There was money involved. But eventually, that whole Colombian family that was operating out of Queens got murdered. Cold-heartedly, viciously, children, people. This is the results of illegal activity. It wasn't nothing the government could do about it. You asking me, is South Africa, what you're basically asking me is South Africa as, when it comes to the people, as stable as America? America is a little different. You said that. America is a little different. America is mostly white. South Africa is mostly black. There's a different dynamic there. If America was mostly foundational black Americans and you had immigrants coming over here doing things that we didn't like, I think you would have the same results. The people will go that far. I don't, and for you to see one incident like that and to say, oh, that's all South Africans, I think you're making a grave mistake. That's not all South Africans. Most South Africans probably sympathize with you and wouldn't partake in that. But the bottom line is the dude was illegal. What was you doing there? Period. What was you doing there?
It's quite interesting, eh? Anyway, we just want to end here. I've been here for an hour now. Before we go, I just want to ask you, like, what do you think can be the lasting solution to this problem? Okay, without being violent, without killing each other, what could be the lasting, solution to this problem that South Africa is facing right now? And looking at the activities that are happening now of people being asked to move around with an ID, whether you're South African or not, and also to be moving around with your passport.
Yo, just don't go to South Africa unless you have your shit in order. Have your papers in order. Don't be illegal. Don't illegally go to South Africa. And that's it. That's the bottom line. If you come there illegally, there should be a warning put out to all illegals that, look, you might come here and prosper like you dream of. You might be a good person. Great, cool. But there's also a chance that if you come here illegally, understand that you're breaking the law, and there will be consequences behind that. And anything can happen to you. And ain't nobody gonna boo-hoo or none of that, because you shouldn't have been there if you came there illegally. If you came there illegally, you shouldn't have been there, period. So something happened to your ass for coming there illegally, that's on you. You gonna have to deal with that. You want to eat that. That's life in a nutshell. That's the way life works. Every responsible adult understands that. Some people, they take the gamble, they take the risk. But if the risk don't pay off, you can't blame nobody but yourself.
Okay. So what's your take on on mob justice?
I think the government should get more involved in immigration and just keep immigrants legally out of it. You know what I mean? Period. And it's not just African immigrants. You got a lot of Chinese immigrants that get arrested in South Africa and deported back to China. They just don't play with the immigration shit. Like, have your papers in order. But as far as the justice, I believe Africans need more reparations in South Africa. They need more reparations from the government. And also, they need to clamp down on that whole immigration thing. Increase the wage. That's going to increase the wages on jobs. I think they need more unions in South Africa. With things, if you're a South African, period. If you're a South African, you get certain things from the government. I
But
think
of
all of
course,
that should
okay.
be in order.
Okay, so my question again is, now that we are seeing that in every society there's a weaker group that can be easily targeted, and another group might be there, but but hidden, right? In this case, Zimbabweans are the most vulnerable. Zimbabweans are the most, open. So now we're saying, why is it that the focus is only on, for example, Zimbabweans? And the locals are not going to Chinatown to move around asking every Chinese everywhere. They say, show us your passport, show us your identity. Those are some of the issues that people are raising. Like, why are you just targeting a certain people,
I mean, if that's going on, that's fucked up. And that's something that South Africans are going to have to handle and deal with on their conscience. But you still got to remember that you in their country. But yeah, I think that's something that South Africans as a collective should look at and maybe deal with in a better way. But the bottom line is you still in somebody else's country. You don't know, like if you come into my territory and you Chinese and opposed to you being African, right? Like if the Chinese dude come in my territory and he do it respectfully, he's legal and he's giving me paper and and everything is working out right to the point, and he like, yo, can look, it's gonna work out different. You just can't come over here all janky and shit any kind of way. I don't care who you are. It just don't work like that. And a lot of Africans, they just feel entitled in a lot of cases. Just because they African, I'm just entitled. You don't know what the Chinese nigga did. So don't even compare yourself to the Chinese dude, because you don't even know how he got over there, how that worked out,
But
opposed to
then
you.
how are we going to know? How are we going to know if no locals are going there to check? The same way that they're checking on Zimbabweans, how are we going to know that the Chinese are doing what A, B, C, D, and yet they're only, focusing on Zimbabweans?
I mean, like you just arguing the wrong cause all the way. First of all, you fled from Zimbabwe. You ain't got no, you can't say shit. You don't have a say so on what goes on in South Africa. You have a say so in Zimbabwe. If South Africans was fleeing to Zimbabwe and y'all was treating them like that, but you don't see that. There's no South Africans in Zimbabwe. So I mean, you really don't have a case. If that's what they choose to do, that's what they choose to do. You in their country, dude.
Okay.
They're not in Zimbabwe. And it's not. I'm not trying to disparage Zimbabwe. I'm pretty sure that's a great country, but they're not in. So you don't see a lot of South Africans fighting to live in Zimbabwe, but you see a lot of people from Zimbabwe fighting trying to live in South Africa. That's the difference. You got it. You can't get around that.
Okay. Now, also we have issues of institutions like the SADC, the African Union, and seeing that South Africa, has got a big voice in an organization like SADC. And then the other accusations were that why is it the South African leadership, they don't bring out these issues to be discussed and find solutions. So at the end of it, they're saying, South Africa should just let people be, okay, in their country, because when they have the opportunity to discuss these issues, and reprimand some of their counterparts, they don't do that. So it's on their head.
That's gonna hurt. Right now, the very few white people that are left in South Africa that are holding on to any little semblance of power in South Africa. And that's why I tell y'all, they come together as a group of people, as the people, and take your reparations and then start building. Because they owe y'all way more money than that. But the small power of white people. They want immigrants to come into South Africa. They want to displace y'all. And they play this trick. The people look like you, they're black, yeah, but they're not from there. They want to displace y'all. So what y'all gotta do is be able to see what politician is pushing that and then get them up out of there, because y'all are the people. Politics is in the people, and politicians the people can replace, but they gotta be on code. You gotta get on code. You gotta get a little selfish now. That's what we doing as FBA. We're getting a little selfish. We don't hate our brothers, but what we saying is, look, even if we want to help y'all, we got to get our shit together first. And we got our own issues to deal with. And once we get that worked out, then maybe we'll lend a helping hand. But right now, you got to hold your own nuts, brother, because all you're going to do is come in here and try to undermine me. And it's just not going to work out, nigga. I see what's going on. You're trying to replace me. But that's cool. I get it. You're starving. But you're not going to eat off of me.
Okay, let me read a comment here. Someone is saying the Zimbabweans, they insult our ministers. Some groups are taking the government to court because they don't want to go back to Zimbabwe. They demand citizenship.
Yeah, like, that's crazy. How you go demand citizenship? Like, you came in here illegally and you try to demand something. You can't demand anything. That's like somebody coming to your house. They figured out that you had a rule where you could come in there for like a few days and I might not see you. But once I see you, it's like, nigga, this is the rules. This is how it's set up. No, I don't want to follow those rules. I'm going to do it this way. You can't do that. You got to follow the law, dude. And if you got pushback from the natives of that place because of what you do, you're hurting the place. You're hurting the people. That's like me taking a fucking animal from North America that's just going to totally dominate in Africa and letting him go in the wilderness. You're going to have a bunch of them that kills off a bunch of animals that's needed for that country to survive, because it's in a habitat that it's not even supposed to be in. No, if you want to, you got to get your shit together. Where you from? You got to get your shit, and then y'all come over here. Then when a lot of them come to South Africa, you talk shit to the South Africans. You tell them you ain't shit. You live in townships. This, that, and the third. You're lazy. All this shit, like it's not even like you don't even come here humble. You come here with vitriol. You come here hostile. Why would I want to put up with that? Why would I want to undermine myself on top of putting up with a hostile immigrant that don't even belong here? No, we gonna get together and get the officials to make sure y'all don't come here. We gotta fix that. That's an issue. That's a problem. We got to get that fixed. When you have a problem, you get it fixed.
Okay, so someone is saying, thank you, Brother Harlem, for for telling the truth, Yeah, I think we have heard from our brother here. The brother is actually saying, well, when you are a foreigner getting into anyone's country, you need to have proper documentation. And if you find yourself there, stop, undermining locals, okay? Stop talking bad about locals. Stop telling locals that you are lazy, you don't want to work, this and that. So when you find yourself in somebody else, the right thing by fighting their own country, even though he said again he's not condoning the act of violence and the killing of people, no, but it's actually saying we need to respect each other's countries and follow the rules and regulations of immigration. When you need to have a visa, just have your visa and get into that country. Okay, so I think South Africans are very happy to hear such kind, okay, because of the condemnation that has been happening there. A lot of people coming in to just say no, no, no. But at least South Africa found a brother who is understanding their perspective of saying, well, it's your country, you do what you want to do, because there's some people, they may be politicians, corporate leaders, and everyone, they will be in support of immigration and illegal immigrants in the country because they get cheap labor, right? So those are some of the things that were highlighted by a brother here. So if there's anyone who wants to join the live stream, I have just put up the link there. All you can do is to click on the link, and then it will take you straight into the studio, and then I'm going to add you to the live stream. Then so I'll just give you some few minutes for anyone who wants to join. Then if there is no one joining, then I will say goodbye for today, and then I will see you again later with another topic. Okay, so if there's anyone who wants to join or wants to say something, feel free to connect via the link that I've just shared. All you need to do is just to click, it will take you straight to the studio. Anyway, I don't know if Brother Harlem is there. I also wanted to ask him if he follows Malema and what Malema, stands for.
Is that the short brother? I don't know. Okay, I'm not sure who that is. I'm not even sure who
Julius
that is.
Malema, he is actually the leader he's very vocal. He is the leader of EFF, which is Economic Freedom Fighters in South Africa, an opposition party. But yeah, he's also very vocal, when it comes to these issues. But their own side is saying that we need to embrace Africans, okay, because we are brothers and sisters.
Well, if they doing that, I wouldn't. If he's saying that, I wouldn't trust him. I would try to. I wouldn't. If as a South African, if I'm putting myself in a place as a South African, right? If I was a South African and he was pushing that type of rhetoric, I would not support him at all. All South Africans need to be against him. All of y'all, politically. And if they come at y'all on some violent shit, then just put in that work. Y'all the majority over there. I don't understand. We was like 13% of the population here in America, and we was killing crackers, doing what we had to do to get what we wanted. No, you're not gonna have us drinking dilapidated water and living in squalor while y'all live good. We not doing that. Either we all gonna live good or ain't nobody gonna live good, period. So that's the type of spirit we have, and South Africans have that same spirit. And y'all need to get on code against this guy, as a collective, as a people. Just get on code. If you see what he's pushing and it's against the greater good of South Africa, then use your platform to go against that. And I will be a supporter. I'm gonna watch you grow to the point where your joint is monetized, and I'll donate money to you and all that. Because I get money. Money is not a thing for me.
Very, very, very interesting, because Malema is one of the most popular groups, if I should say, or political parties, like in the opposition. It's very, very popular. And right now, when it comes to the issues of foreigners, he's actually saying let's accommodate foreigners. And then on the other hand, we have a group which is saying no, put South Africans first. Okay, South Africa is for South Africans. So
support that group. 85% of the South Africans need to be supporting that group. And if not, just support the group that's going to offer you guys tangibles, not symbolic victories. Don't fall for symbolic victories like a holiday or your faces on a dollar bill or some dumb shit like that. No, you guys need tangibles. You want tangibles, things that you can feel, that you can see, real money, real land, real tangibles. That's what you guys got to keep fighting for as a collective. Come together as South Africans collectively. We doing
So
it.
let me ask you, in America, you as a Black American, in America, can you say you have won this war against illegal immigrants? Because we remember during the Trump era, he was talking about, let's build the wall and this. So have you won this, fight against illegal immigrants?
Okay. The video paused for a minute, but we're not fighting. We're just now getting to the point, right? We fought for illegal immigrants as foundational Black Americans. We turned the tide for illegal immigrants. Barack Obama's father was a Kenyan that went to school in America off the strength of the movements that we had going on at that time back in 1965. Martin Luther King put together money from churches to bring certain Africans over to America to be educated, to bring it back over there and things like that. So we like immigration in America is something that we push forward as foundational Black Americans. We thought that we were bringing over people that were going to be reinforcements for us in our struggle against real white supremacy. We went through the same things you guys went through. You guys were going through apartheid. We were going through segregation. Certain things were denied to us. That's why reparations is justified for us. They have to give us reparations. It's in the law. It's in their own law. They have no choice. But this is what we were going through. And during that time, we could have fought for reparations back then. Instead, we fought for equal rights for and for immigration laws and things like that here in America. And we didn't realize that a lot of the immigrants that were dark like us, that look like us, were going to come over here and undermine us. We didn't know that. And those immigrants were used like pawns by the white supremacists. I don't even blame them. They were used against us, the real power, because they understand that we actually built America. American culture is us.
Well. I think we are all following what is the sister is saying. Please don't condone, don't say any justifications for murder.
I'm not mad at the sister. The sister is saying that could have been my brother, my sister, my father, anybody that was looking for a better life in South Africa and they was burned to death. I get that. And I'm not saying that that's justified at all. That's fucked up. We shouldn't be doing that to each other. But all I'm saying is once you see it happen one time, you're supposed to learn from it. And at the same time, as an illegal immigrant, South Africans don't do that to everybody that's Black. So let's not put that stigma on them neither. Because I'm a foundational Black American, and foundational Black Americans are welcome in South Africa. And I look like just any other African you see any other day, We all look the same. But when they see an American, a foundational Black American, they like, yo, I know this nigga got his paperwork together. They're not known.
But what if you don't have? What if it's just an assumption that you have got your papers together and yet you don't have? You see, isn't that also
that's not going to happen? That's what I'm trying to say. The attacks don't happen that way. They try to make it seem like these are mindless attacks. No, these are attacks on people that immigrate into these countries a lot of times, and they just pieces of shit. Let's just keep it real. And you're not going to see that with everybody that's Black that comes into Johannesburg. You're just not going to see that. They're going to see, they're going to talk to you. Yo, what's up, man? Where you from? I'm American. Oh, shit, this nigga. I know he got his papers right. Americans don't.
Issue.
Yeah, American Blacks don't immigrate illegally to South Africa. We just don't do that.
No, but
we don't.
Everybody, most of the times people just get into South Africa legally with documents, but at the end of the day, the documents will expire when they're there. So this assumption of saying, because he's an American, obviously their documents are okay, their documents are in order. That assumption again is what people are saying. Why? You don't have to have such an assumption that
Yeah,
just
when your
because this
visa,
person.
when your 90 days is up, you have to leave. They don't understand that. A lot of a lot of foundational Black Americans, they leave before the 90 days is up. We out. We enjoyed it. The food was good. I went to some local shit. Them niggas gave me T-bone steak, all that for like $25. It was so much food. I had to bring it back to my hotel. Yeah, I had a good time out there. I spent a lot of money, but it was well worth it.
Yeah,
A
but
lot of the illegals,
that kind of assumption of thinking that this is because he's an American, he just came in, obviously his papers are okay. Oh, this one just because they are white, their skin is white, obviously their documents is okay. Oh, this one because the Chinese are obviously their documents are okay. That kind of thing. And then you see a Zimbabwean, obviously this Zimbabwean doesn't have documents. What if that Zimbabwean that you want to attack has got documents? But because they are Zimbabwean, you have already, tagged them that they don't
yeah,
have documents. That is another
th-
problem.
that's a problem. And then they try to put you on a guilt trip. Oh, you wrong. You practicing xenophobia because no, nigga, you coming in as a burden. Get your shit together. Zimbabwe, get your shit together, baby. Get the government right. Do what we did. We fighting against the government every day. I'm a foundational Black American. We only 13% of the population over here. Yet America is predominantly controlled by our culture. We get it popping over here, baby. We got to fight. They doing that. You see the South Africans doing that. They living good. They chilling. Them niggas got air conditioning, all kind of shit, eating good, restaurants everywhere. They like driving. And you want a part of that? No, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? You can come in, but you gotta do it the right way. Ain't just gonna illegally come here. No, we not doing that. Not no more. Not no more. Cause at the end of the day, if a South African try to do that to y'all would shit on them and have a problem with that. If a foundational Black American was on some shit like, yo, I gotta flee America, I just gotta leave. I ain't got shit, but I'm gonna just go over to Nigeria. I ain't got a dime. I'm just running over. He's not gonna be successful, dude. Stop it. Let's just be. Can we just be real for a minute?
Yeah, but when it comes to the issue of of South Africa and what is happening there, with foreigners, is just way too much. Okay, it's just way too much things that are going on there because the issue, especially the issue that is there of saying crime is being committed by foreigners. It's only foreigners who are committing crime in South Africa. And this is another issue that has led to the death of this man, unfortunately, because of
Mm-hmm.
this stigma, this thing of pointing
It
that
was
it's only
crime.
foreigners who are. But if you want to look at the statistics of crime in South Africa, historically, moving, you will see that South Africa is among, in the world, I think they're in top 10, if not so, in Africa, I think they're even the number one when it comes to crime. But they're pointing this crime on foreigners, and hence this is why we have seen one person losing their life. Okay.
Nah, you absolutely right about that. A lot of the illegal when you're see the illegal immigrant argument will never work because people like to say there's some good illegal immigrants that really want to come in and do the right thing, but that never works because I always bring up this analogy. Says if 1,000 snakes show up at my door and it's only three of them that's poisonous, am I gonna just let all the snakes come in my house? Hell no. I know that there's a it's just I know that there's a chance that one of them is poison. That's enough for me. And you're the one in a position that can dictate what comes into your community and what doesn't come into your community. And that's really up to South Africans. And I think all the South Africans are saying is we don't mind if you come in, but just do it the right way. If you come in illegally, anything can happen to you. And yet, we're not as stable as America. We're on that level, but we're not as stable when it comes to shit like that. So something could happen to you coming out here. And that's just
Anyway,
it.
so another brother here is
I
saying,
mean, as far as any retaliation is concerned, like I said, you don't see a lot of South Africans immigrating into other African countries. So you don't have that argument either. You can't say, oh, when the South Africans come here, we treat them good. There's not a lot of South Africans that go there. So I mean, it just is what it is. But go ahead,
okay,
though,
so
sir.
yeah, another brother is saying they are undocumented people everywhere in the world, and people immigrate for different reasons. The fact that work is necessary to survive does not mean people immigrate just for economic reasons. No people should be killing or intimidate other people because they are undocumented, especially Africans against Africans.
I would say to that brother, you sound like you was thinking about immigrating before that happened. Like a day before you heard that news, you was thinking about going into somebody else's country illegally. And once you heard that news, that's what could happen to you, you got triggered, and now you're mad. And now you got to think twice. Stay out of other people's countries illegally, brother.
Interesting. If we can have anyone who wants to join the live stream, you are free to follow via the link. I have shared a link there for anyone who wants to join in, and let's hear from different voices so that we have a balanced thing going on here. But my brother here is actually saying, please stay away from other people's countries. If you know that you don't have proper documentation, if you visit a country and your visa is expiring, make sure you extend the visa or leave. Okay, let people live there, enjoy their lives in their countries. Don't undermine other people when they're in their own countries, all right? And then someone is saying, but why you kill undocumented black Zimbabwean people? How many wives buy identity in South Africa, but you are afraid of them? Okay.
I
Anyway,
mean, why did the guy that died, right? Why did he go to South Africa and turn his nose up at South Africans? Why did he come to South Africa and provoke them into a situation where he probably knew
but
he would die?
unfortunately, the issue of the guy who died, he never provoked anybody. He was just a gardener. He was in his house. They came into the house. They demanded what they demanded. They also demanded money. They had to harass his wife. They beat his wife.
Oh my
And,
God, that's what happened.
yeah. They beat his wife.
And was
They,
it was the guy
they
was the guy illegal?
illegal or not illegal, I'm not quite sure about that. But when
You
they
gotta
say
find
that they
out if he
asked,
was legal or not. If they did that to him, that's fucked up. If
yeah, they
that
went
brother,
into his house, they beat up his
yeah, that's
wife,
fucked up.
and
Yeah,
they
that's
tied him
crazy.
up. They took him out,
If that
into
if
the
that
streets. They beat him. They said he had guns in the house, but when they searched the house upside down, they couldn't find even any sign of drugs or gun in that house. There was nothing,
if
absolutely
that
nothing.
if
So
that brother if that brother came there from any African country and he was there legally and he was chilling in the house with his wife and his kids and they came in there and brutally murdered him, then yes, I would say that South Africa has a problem.
So that is where
They
the
they
problem is, because it so happened that they demanded money, okay? They demanded money, and the wife didn't have, she only had about 50 rands. 50 rands is just little money, okay?
how much is 50 rams? American dollars.
In
Wow.
American dollars, I would say is,
Because I you know I talk American dollars. If I tell you I'm gonna send you $100, I'm gonna send you $100. I'm gonna send you 100 American dollars. You did.
Yeah,
That's
but
how
I
it
don't.
is.
It's not really money that is worth someone dying. Okay, it's about
So
$3 US,
three fucking
$3 US.
dollars. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So
So they
that's the only
locked.
money that she had.
So did they catch the asshole who did it? Did they catch him?
No, that is the issue. That is the issue because the place where this person was, it's like in the road, right? She was beaten and bent by the roadside. That place is not even a crime scene. There are no tapes. This murder just happened, on Wednesday. There are no tapes to show that these investigations are going on. So, in other words, they're saying, well, he died. So life goes on. That is why there's an outcry.
No, that's fucked up. No, it's not. He just died. They gotta catch the people that did that bullshit because that wasn't just an African immigrant that came into the country. This was a brother that was he was an immigrant, yeah, but he had his shit together. And that was
See?
some jealousy bullshit. Like, nah, that shouldn't be tolerated by any African
So
anywhere.
that is where another thing is coming in. Like, of course, we understand the problem of illegal immigrants in a country and people, taking measures to control their communities. But that incident that happened on Wednesday, I think after talking to me, you can go on Facebook and then you can check on Facebook to see what I'm talking about, and then you understand why it's a huge case. It's a huge issue. Welcome, Lozi.
Oh, thank you. How are you, my sister?
I am fine. How are you doing? You can just, your volume a little bit so that we can hear you clearly.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is it loud enough? Hello?
Your volume is a little bit low.
Okay, let me just put my
Okay.
earphones and maybe. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes. Much better now.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, so you know what we're talking about, right? We are talking about the incident that happened in South Africa in dispute,
Oh,
and I'm not sure. Where are you? Are you South African?
yes, I'm South African.
Thank you so much for joining us. May we hear your views on the issue?
Okay, so look, this is so complex. This issue of immigration in South Africa and the entire continent, and what just happened. It's a very huge topic, and we need to remove our feelings from it to really deal with the elephant in the room. What you
Yes.
see in Deep Sleuth, the man losing his life, it's not a root of the problem. Those are like outcomes. And everybody knows it's not something that is new. All African leaders know, all African people know, people who run South Africa, they know, because the problem is not in South Africa. And to suggest that the problem is in South Africa, it's crazy. South Africa is literally carrying the burden of failed African states, and that's just the truth. It's not even when Zimbabwe was doing good before Mugabe and his people chased the whites who controlled the economy there. The Zimbabweans were not flocking South Africa, and they also had their borders in control. They wouldn't allow everyone there. South Africa has been carrying millions of Africans than any country in history of this continent. And I'm talking about immigrants who will just walk in South Africa freely, even including refugees who seek Islam. We don't even have refugee camps. We literally tried everything we can do, but the one country cannot sustain the entire continent, which has got above 1 billion of people. It's technically impossible. So we need to focus on the outcomes of the problem and address what caused the man to lose his life. First of all, I hear you, my sister. You're probably a Zimbabwean. We live with many Zimbabweans, and what I've realized is most Zimbabweans compared to many immigrants, most Zimbabweans can actually be able to communicate with South Africans and look in this matter in the sense of an eye of a South African, look at it in both sides. So let's not be biased. The situation of the man who lost his life, we don't really know what happened there. Only people from that area, Deep Sleuth, can really explain what's going there, the people in the community. For us to come here and take what someone commented on the media or some newspaper because they say this man was this, that's not true. And South African media has been bought, it's controlled. The media is biased to South Africans. 7 South Africans were killed by a Zimbabwean in last year. A Zimbabwean man killed 7 South African women in Limpopo. It didn't even get this attention. One Zimbabwean lost his life, everybody's going crazy. So do you even know about the South African women who were killed by Zimbabwe? No, you don't know. South Africans have been killed by African immigrants in thousands every year. We are killed in our own country, but it doesn't trend. It doesn't make the media news. One African migrant loses his life in South Africa, everybody goes crazy. South Africans are not invading anyone's country. We are not in Zimbabwe's jail prisons. We are not in Botswana's prisons. We are not in Nigeria prisons. We are not in Somalia. But come to our prisons, you can find any nationality from the rest of 53 African countries outside South Africa. So we need to be fair when we speak, because our people are getting killed as well. I'm a South African. I want what is best for my people. I'm a South African before the Africa. So if we can start to fix our countries from that point before we speak of this idea of one Africa, when we have got messed up countries, we can now rise as a continent. But to talk about one Africa in a sense that we want to all run to this one specific country and start to preach one Africa, but back at home we are tribal. Back at home we've got these leaders that are dictators. I mean, the issue of Zimbabwe, the reason why Zimbabweans are running South Africa is because of their leader. That's the problem. The problem is not in South Africa. South Africans are trying to respond. What you see now, it's when people are fed up. These are poor people who don't even have voices. These are poor people when the government is not even attending them. Our government has joined the global agenda communities. They don't care. The global agenda communities, they work like this. These are multinational corporates. They know they've destroyed Zimbabwe. They don't want the Zimbabweans to come to the Western world. They would rather ship them to South Africans, let South Africa deal with the whole problem. This is what's happening. It's not xenophobia, it's not Afrophobia, it's just poor people responding to the situation. When people are put at the corner, they're gonna do whatever it takes. People tend to be tribal, people tend to be racist, people tend to be sexist, people will group themselves when they're on a survival mode. This is what happens. It's not like there's no hate against Zimbabweans. These are poor people looking for an excuse to leech on someone and blame that person and remove that person from their problem. Because let's face it, the more you have people in a poor country and they keep increasing, how do you think it's going to happen? The thing is, we are all competing for resources. In South Africa, you have white minorities.
Yo, brother. At this point, you're rambling. You're rambling and you're babbling. You're not really getting to no point. You're just talking. And relax a little bit. If you really respect the sister, I think you will fall back and just relax and go along with the show. Go ahead, sis.
Okay, so my point is, my brother Lozi, I can hear what you are talking about, and you have mentioned so many, important. You have raised so many important points. You have spoken about the South African media being biased when it comes to the coverage of issues like this. They don't cover issues, when it's a South African involved, but when it comes to a foreigner or an immigrant, then it becomes an international thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And can I speak, if I may, my sister? Because thanks for allowing me to speak so long, and thanks for your patience.
Okay, just go ahead, and then I'll be asking you questions as we go, so that we engage many people.
Okay, I honestly believe so. We need to understand what is South African media, because this is the largest media corporation in Africa. They control about more than 66 news channels. They're not just in South Africa only. So we need to understand who's behind this and what is the agenda, because I, as a South African, I can see this bias. Maybe you might not believe me, because you might think I'm also biased because I'm trying to protect my country as well. It's feelings, emotions, but no, if you come here, you will see we've got a channel called News 24, we've got Inca News, we've got Africa Room channel. It's crazy. You can see and they never interview South Africans when it comes to issues like this. The Zimbabwean men just got banned, right? All the interviewing is foreigners. They never want to allow South Africans to really speak.
Bro, bro. At the end of the day, that shit ain't got nothing to do with nothing. What we talking about? What we talking about is empowering our people. I'm with the empowerment of Black People channel. That's what I'm with. I'm with that sector. Any
Yeah,
sector
but
that's
you
talking about any sector that's talking about empowering melanated people, that's what I'm with. That's what I roll with,
yeah,
nigga.
but
And
that's we took it.
sometimes we gotta have that mentality. We gotta cut certain corny niggas off. If you're corny, you can't ride. You gotta get it together. And then when you get it together, then you can ride. Right now you're corny, nigga. Nobody wanna hear that shit.
But that's not addressing the point. That's not addressing the issue, and that's why we keep falling to issues like this. How do you say we're gonna empower Black people, but you're skipping the details? These are like the details. This is what's
Empower
happening.
Black people by
I'm
letting them
explaining.
know.
I'm explaining the.
Empower Black people by letting them know that you created the fucking traffic lights that the whole world uses. You're the reason for the
What
filler
does
and the
that
light
that has
bulb
got nothing
that
to
the
do with
whole
anything, brother.
fucking world uses. You're the
Okay.
reason for the third
That has got
rail on the
nothing to do with
traffic.
anything.
You ain't
That has got to do
show me
with what?
something that your people created recently, nigga. Let's go. Show
Did
me
you read the
something
top?
that
Did
you
you
did.
read the headline? The topic. The
Get
topic
the
is
fuck
South
out of here,
Africa.
man. These niggas playing.
EFF
Okay, Brother
visited.
Harlem.
What are you talking
Brother
about?
Harlem, let's mute a little bit. Okay, go ahead, Lozi.
Yeah, but this guy, what is he talking about? Because for me, that I don't understand. The topic is about what just happened between the migrants in
Go
South
ahead.
Africa and the brother, the brother who just lost his life from Zimbabwe, which is unfortunate. Why are we addressing
Yes.
the entire Black
The problem.
nations now? Because we will get there. I don't understand why we're addressing this, because that's besides the point. It's how the Pan Africans think. It's all ideas, no practical solution. We need to look at Zimbabwe now, because the Zimbabweans didn't just wake up and decide to run South Africa. I don't think even most of them wants to be here. You know, if Zimbabwe was running, they wouldn't come here. Zimbabweans are one of educated group in Africa, like South Africa, Botswana, Kenya. These are educated people. These are people who used to have one of the best education system. So the problem is economy, the government, and this has to do with global, with other nations, the Western countries that are powerful. They have created this situation. We all know that. And then South Africa is carrying the burden. We all know that. Those are things we need to address.
My brother, sorry to cut you short, but if we all know this, okay, if we all know this, then why is it that we are fighting among us ourselves, and yet we know who is behind everything?
Okay, can I respond? South African government is not fighting with Zimbabwean government. South Africans that are in middle class, that are eating well, they're not fighting with Zimbabweans. And if also you get my point. This is not about South Africans fighting immigrants, especially African immigrants. These are poor people targeting the next poor group, and they happen to be mostly African migrants. You get my point. The people in Deep Sleuth are not even watching this video. The people in Deep Sleuth are not on Twitter. They don't care. These are poor people who don't afford data to get information and to be everywhere. They see the next victim. You don't look like them. You don't speak like them. They are also struggling. You are in their country. They entitled to their country, because where else can they go? For them, South Africa is the only thing they have. You compete for their bread. You can be their next victim. I'm not saying this is allowed, but there's just too many people now in South Africa that these people can now point a finger. That's what I'm saying. Even during apartheid, not more than 200,000 South Africans left South Africa. You know, one reason was that apartheid government had an electrical fence wall. They didn't allow everybody to just walk away. But also, I believe South Africans, as cultural as people, they don't have that mindset of just running away. Maybe the apartheid government made them used to just fight and stay at home. So we have never had that situation. I'm not saying, I mean, we have lived with many migrants from Zimbabwe, right? Millions of them. The biggest problem, my sister, is this. Now, I believe if only Southern migrants were migrating South Africa in millions, South Africa can hold, right? South African economy is the dominant one in the Southern region. But the biggest problem, my sister, is consider this as well. We've got the West, we've got the Central, we've got the East, even some North now. I've been starting to see the Egyptians, the Algerians. everybody's here. And you go to our hospitals and everything, it's down. As a Zimbabwean, my sister, if South Africa goes down completely now, right? You know this. If South Africa goes down completely now, the southern region is over. It's fucked up. So you only not need to to protect South Africa for South African benefits. You protect South Africa so that the entire continent can stand. That's what's happening. And if you keep
But
sending
then
everybody to
the issue is, why are you targeting Zimbabweans?
No, Zimbabweans are not target. Let me tell you what's happening. First of all, Zimbabweans are more than any migrants in South Africa, I think, followed by Mozambicans, right? And then there will be Malawians, and then somewhere Nigerians, Somalis, Ethiopians. All these groups of migrants, when they come to South Africa, I don't know if it's culture or what is it, they behave differently, right? We know that what Nigerians do in South Africa. We know what Zimbabweans do in South Africa. We know what Mozambicans tend to do, Malawi, Somalians, Ethiopians. Most Southern people behave similar. Like there's slightly, there's no huge difference between Zimbabwe and Mozambique migrants in South Africa, as well as Malawi. Then, but you can see a huge variety now when you introduce the Pakistanians, the Ethiopians, the Somalians. Then you go to West Africa, you talk about the Ghanaians, the Senegalese, the Nigerians. These migrants behave the same, they behave differently, and they all live in different environments, and they are exposed to different environments and different kind of South Africans. That's a factor, and it contributes a lot. Now, if you go to Deep Sleuth, you hardly find an Ethiopian or a Pakistan living there, like a normal person waking up to go to get a job, right? They either owning a small shop, and then if they stay somewhere, maybe they go there for their business, or they put one of their brother there, and then but the whole family might stay somewhere, right? If there's a Zimbabwean or Mozambican move to South Africa, especially the poor ones, they tend to completely live among the people of Deep Sleuth, the poor ones, because we're more similar, right? We speak the same languages and we look close, right? It's easy for them to assimilate. That's why when the poor attack, it's about who's their next victim, who's the one who live among. It's not about targeting a specific nation. It's about who's there when they attack. It's like when people say why South Africans don't attack immigrants from UK, from America, the white ones. When they migrate to South Africa, they own the global economy, they own currency, they own money, right? Where do they live in South Africa? Do the poor people even see these people? They don't even see them as migrants. They just believe they're white South Africans to begin with. They cannot even tell, because when they come here, they've got money, they drive fancy cars. It's just another next white South African. You get my point? They don't even see these people. So that's what I'm saying. These are very complex issues. The biggest problem is South African government has played a huge role in allowing this to happen. South African government it's actually the most influential government in Africa. They know all the issues that are happening around Africa, especially Zimbabwe, our neighboring country, right? Let's say 15 years ago, when this shit started to be worse, the currency of Zimbabwe losing started to be devalued by the Western. South Africa should have reacted right there. Right now, South Africa cannot go to Europe and dictate Poland. They will fuck South Africa. You get my point? We have allowed these global countries to come and dictate one of us, and we wouldn't do anything. And now South Africa is suffering the consequences, because the Zimbabweans sit down and they're like, oh, we are suffering. Which country is our neighbor where we can walk in, but the economy is doing well? They're not gonna walk in Malawi or Zambia. They're not gonna do. They're gonna walk in South Africa or Botswana. This is common sense. It could have happened to us as well, or Botswana. You see, they're gonna walk into countries that are doing well and countries that are popular. You get my point. South Africa has been branded as like an economic hub of Africa. Just by that, too. They don't even know that Botswana has got higher standards of living than South Africa. But South Africa, it's like Canada and USA. USA is branded as the global economy, But if you look at it, Canada's got higher standards of living than USA. But people are running to USA. Right there. It's part of the problem. People think South Africa, it's where it's happening.
Yeah, but let me ask you, You have really raised some important points. Someone is saying, Lozi is talking sense, Sister Ziki. And someone is saying, Lozi, you are right. No one desires to leave their own country. So why are we banning each other? Should we not, as differentiated people, unite to fight the system, thereby fixing Africa?
Okay, can I respond, my sister, to that? Look, Africans have been making strides. Africa, there's a progress. If we say about South Africa of 8 years ago, even South Africa, it's not the same. Things have changed, right? But this change at the government level, it changes at the corporate level, it changes among the middle class, the working class, the top people, not at the poor level. The thing is, this is not about South Africans banning people. Even South Africans ban even other South Africans who are problematic in their communities. The problem is the theory behind this, is the idea that a migrant shouldn't feel threatened in South Africa, because once it gets there, everybody feels threatened. We shouldn't be banning migrants, because banning a South African and banning an immigrant is not the same. I understand that one. Trust me, my sister. I understand that one. But a poor man doesn't use common sense. First of all, a poor person is likely poor because they're not that educated. They don't want to think right. In South Africa, to be poor, it can be like a choice sometimes. I know our economy is not the best in the world, but a poor person in Zimbabwe, 70% of the time is because of the economy and the government. But in South Africa, could be just because you're not trying hard enough. You get my point? So these are people who are entitled. These are people with excuses. They will use anything. They don't care. They don't think like me and you. They don't want to even see it like that. So these are just poor people doing what they can do to do. If we interview people in Deep Sloot, South Africans, Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, we get a better clear. I never lived in Deep Sloot, but Deep Sloot is it's a poor area of South Africa, and this is what must not be allowed. No country allows foreigners to migrate to other countries who will live in such conditions. That's why when you migrate, Western countries ask you, they check your financial record. They ask you, what are you coming here to do? Because they know if you are poor, you add into the poor masses, you're going to live among the poor. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? You get my point. South Africans don't hate Zimbabweans. Zimbabweans don't hate South Africans. We are living in a Western system. We are all affected by this because we are all eating the crumbs. We have to wait for them to eat, and then they throw to the next house nigger they find, and then the house nigger eats, and then he has to throw to the slave. That's what is the problem. We are all competing for the left out. And unfortunately, it's an unfortunate thing.
Sorry to cut you short. I wanted to ask about Operation Dudula.
Yes.
We saw the comments that were making after this whole incident. I have been following some of the comments. They said, well, we are not going to be mourning for only this one person. Okay, we are losing people every day, so there's no need for us to be mourning only this. Do you subscribe to the to Operation Dudula?
Yeah. So I subscribe to Operation Dudula. I will explain. There's Operation Dudula, and then there's individuals who probably support Operation Dudula, and this can be extreme individuals, right? The leaders of Operation Dudula and the people who are around in Tlatlalax, they for me, they resonate with South Africa, and they've got practical solutions. They're not extreme. In fact, I will say EFF is more dangerous than Ntatlalax, because Ntatlalax is offering solutions that can work, and he's peaceful. He's doing it with the legal institutions, because when he does this, sometimes he's got the police around him. I think the problem is the society on its own now. It's South Africa. It's boiling now. You get my point? The extreme people will rise, and some will use the movement, and I think we need to be careful right there. Yes, some part of these things that are happening, Operation Dudula played a role in that, because even if they do it right, other extreme groups are rising, and it's unfortunate, because how do you control that? How doesn't Tlatlalax control other rising extreme groups? You get my point? I think that's what he's struggling with, because the government is not assisting the boy. The government is actually letting this play out. You know, the government could have avoided a lot of things. I mean, for us to even have Operation Dudula in the first place, it shows that something is wrong. A young man from Soweto, he's rising, he's saying enough is enough. But he's trying to do it the legal way as much as possible. He doesn't have the resources to control other groups that are going to rise. You have Malema, who I believe is funded by other external forces to just disrupt. I feel like Malema actually EFF owns one of this newsroom. I think it's Africa Newsroom, or I forgot the name. It's one of the media corporation. So there is some companies that are spreading misinformation. They don't even listen to what the boy is saying, or the Operation Dudula movement, because it's not their agenda. It's, they doing what they don't want. They hope these people start violence. They want to see that. They hoping for that. That's why what happened in Diepsloot has nothing to do with Operation Dudula in terms of principles. Maybe it has to do with Operation Dudula because of the latest movement that Operation Dudula has been doing in terms of dealing with this whole thing, exposing the illegal immigrants and exposing the weakness of our government. But the things that happen in places like Diepsloot, it's something different. You get my point. And yes, Nkakalaks went there with its movement, but they were not there to cause problems. They are not responsible for the people who went later and killed them.
I was actually following on that when Nhlanhla went to Dispute, and there was another group. They were saying, well, Nhlanhla is here to take our movement, to take us. We started this thing here. So what is he doing here? He just want to steal the limelight.
Yeah, but I'm skeptical about that, because I feel like that was EFF people trying to say the people of Diepsloot don't want Operation Dudula. See, you've got the people of Diepsloot, the citizens who are like can resonate with Nkakalaks, who will never harm or kill a foreigner. But these people are affected by illegal immigrants. Among the people of Diepsloot, you've got the extreme ones who will use this opportunity to go and ban an immigrant later. Then you've got the EFF ones, the Pan-Africans who are not living in practical world, right? This whole thing is so complex that people need to break things and get into the details. Yes, you get my point. Both EFF and Nkakalaks play a role in influencing the South Africa you see today. But I wouldn't solely blame both parties in terms of what the outcome that happened in Diepsloot. Basically, I would say it's just poor people doing what they wanted to do so like long before. Then they just looking for those excuses. That moment, then they rise and do this. It's like what happened in Zimbabwe, if you remember, if I can take you back, my sister. Mugabe never said Zimbabweans must chase white people. You get my point. But he was getting somewhere of getting the land, right? Then the extremists took that opportunity, and at the same time they started to really penetrate the farmers and start to do what they did. That's exactly it's similar situation. People will take any opportunity to push their agenda.
Anyway, so like when it comes to the issue of EFF is advocating for inclusivity. Let's work together. Let's Africans.
They not, and they don't care. I'm telling you, I know EFF. I'm a South African. They're not advocating for that. Malema is a power-hungry monster. Malema is that person who will sell his own keys for power. Malema is very dangerous, I can tell you. He's not. We South Africans saw young Malema. We saw this guy grow in politics. We saw his ideology flip and change every time. He might resonate with you now because you're looking at this from the outside South Africa. But there will come a day where someone can buy him to stand with South Africans. Then you will see this guy. If we can give Malema millions tomorrow to stand against the immigrants, you will see him. So Malema is very, very dangerous. That I can tell you. He's very dangerous, but now he's losing power in South Africa because people have now realized who he is. What he says doesn't matter anymore. But Malema is very dangerous. That I can tell you. Malema right now has got this picture that he hates South Africans. South Africans really believe that Malema hates them, right? Remember, one thing you must look with this revolution, with these people who carry themselves as like revolutionaries. They are always hated by their own people. Gaddafi was not liked by Libyans. Mugabe was not necessarily liked by the Zimbabweans, and Malema is going there because he's starting to be extreme. So when they take that, because Malema is looking to be the king of Africa, right? Whatever he wants, and he's gonna do that even at the expense of his own people. That's where the problem is. The idea of Malema, South Africa taking back the land, Africa belongs to Africans. It's what we all need. The idea is what we must all achieve. But how we get there, right? The method we get there, it's where the matter lies, right? How are we gonna get to a position where South Africa completely own the government or the people own their land? You saw what happened in Zimbabwe. The Zimbabweans taking their land back. That's completely what should have done. That's true. The land is well deserved, but you saw the method that you guys used led Zimbabwe to this situation, right? We are trying to avoid the Mugabes and the Malemas. We're trying to save our country and do it the right way. One day South Africa we all gonna own our land, but how we get to that position, that's where the problem is. Because if this could have done better in Zimbabwe as well, we wouldn't be sitting here and talking about this, my sister.
So for you, what do you think will be the lasting solution to the issue of illegal immigrants in South Africa? Right now, we've seen that, South Africa said they're not going to be renewing the permits for Zimbabweans, right? Which means there are going to be even more people who are illegal because not everyone is going to be able to acquire the proper permit. Since that, like end of December, the permits, the grace period is going to end, which means we're going to be seeing again more and more people becoming illegal in South Africa because not everyone is able to acquire the documentation.
You're 100% right. So look, these are like at the government level, me and you were just probably ordinary citizens, and I like what you're doing, my sister. I just wish someday you could just see this in the eye of a South African. But I think I appreciate how you are now. Like talking to you now, it makes difference. Thanks for listening to me. So I've seen what happened in West Africa when is it Mali? Mali, they did a coup on the government. I saw West African countries. There's what they call ECOWAS. I think they got together at some point and sanctioned Mali. I don't know for what reason. I haven't dipped deep into their political affairs. What I think is the solution in southern region is South Africa's got no excuses. If South Africa says anything now, even the entire continent, they listen, right? South Africa is allowing what's happening in Zimbabwe. I don't know if they are scared of the global big countries or what's happening. But South Africa, if there's no other external forces at play, South Africa can literally wake up tomorrow and tell ZANU-PF to fuck off or whatever's the problem in Zimbabwe, because South Africa can just easily get Namibia, Botswana, Malawi, Zambia, Angola, Lesotho, Swaziland on board to vote whatever the shit is happening in Zimbabwe and to get fixed. But they're not doing that. I don't know why. I don't know if the leaders are benefiting somewhere, somehow. I don't know, because I also know the stories where these guys, the South African leaders, have been collaborating with the Zimbabwean leaders to loot out the gold there. You get my point? So I don't know. At that level, I don't know. There's just too many secrets happening there and too many things,
Okay, but, welcome, Botha. We do have Botha in the building. So, Lozi, you can mute a little bit. Let's hear what the other person who has joined has to say. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm good. I just want to ask this, Lozi, my brother. It's about the South African government. If he's saying only the poor are the ones with the problem, I want to ask, like, what they say that the Zimbabweans must go, like those with the working permit, right? Isn't it the government which is pushing all these things? Because they're the ones, I feel like they're the ones who are starting this kind of violence when they want to chase away the Zimbabweans. The ones that were having work permits, now they're being told to go back home.
Lozi?
Can I respond? Okay. Brother Bot, how are you?
I'm good, and you, sir?
Good, man. Did you follow up on the case of the people who had those working permits? I think they were what, 250K?
Yes.
Did you really follow up on that case, or I don't know? Because I feel like you're missing the details. Because In fact, the working permits were expired a long time ago. South African government kept extending those working permits up until it goes to a point where they voted it out. Remember, those work permits were never permanent. And as we speak, the government also has the last election. If you look at the last election, ANC is losing votes, and one reason is because of the immigrants. To be honest with you, the biggest problem, the biggest talk of the show now in South Africa is immigrants. After COVID-19, our economy was already starting to worsen up just because Zuma's term, that 8 years of Zuma costed South Africa a lot. So our corporations were no longer producing more work, right? Then you have technology as well. The fourth industrialization is coming on the way, right? More jobs are going out. Then you have COVID that happened not so long ago. The citizens are just boiling at this point, and the government is aware. So they're trying to take any last job to South Africans. I don't know if it's the right thing or it's the right approach, but they're trying to do that. The way I see it, they're not formally putting it on paper, but I think secretly that's what they're trying to do as well. Because South Africans also need those jobs, my brother. I'm a South African. Honestly, if I walk outside now, I see my people who are suffering, and then the same time an immigrant is getting the job, like especially not a skillful job, I rage, I boil. I don't like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sorry, we are all Africans, but I'm South African first, and you are Zimbabwean first, of course. That the reason you're calling and you're worried about the Zimbabweans that are losing the permit in South Africa is because you care about your own people. So give me that space to also say, I care about my people. This is their country. Can't the low-skilled jobs belongs to them? At least that. You know, I'm only asking for that.
If you look at the number of the people, we talk of 200 something, and now it's less than 200 something thousand people, and the ratio of the number of the population in South Africa, can we just blame that it's Zimbabweans who are taking the jobs?
Can I respond? Or
yeah.
Okay. I don't think you have grasped what's happening. The 250K that were on those ZEP permits, working visas or whatever it was, these are the recorded group, a specific group that was recorded at a specific time for a specific purpose at the government level. These are not all Zimbabweans working in South Africa. When we talk about Zimbabweans in South Africa, we're probably looking at more than 5 million. Zimbabwe's got a total population of, I think, is 15 million. It's more than 15 million. I'm telling you, South Africa's got more than 5 million Zimbabweans. What do you think all these people, when you take the numbers, the legal and the illegal, what do you think they do in South Africa? Because they have to eat, they have to bath, they have to have lights on, those basic things. What do you think they do? They are on the ground competing with normal South Africans for everything. Could be jobs, could be just survival, could be selling on the markets, could be crime. They just like another normal group of South Africans, another new additional 5 million that is just disparate like poor South Africans. You get my point? We're not gonna avoid that position where for the past 15 years, there's more than 5 million Zimbabweans who migrated to South Africa. It was not planned in our government. It was not planned in our budget. There was never a room for that. We were never prepared for that. And this is just one group in one country in Africa. I haven't even spoken about the rest of everyone who's here.
Yeah, I can get you, but the thing is now we cannot talk of the ones who are not recorded, because now the government, they want to deal with the people whom they record, and I believe that the time that they give those people the permits, that means they were putting them on their budget.
Yeah, that's true. That one you are right. I think you are 100%.
So why now getting them away? Like it's not fair. Like those people now, they've been in South Africa for more than 10 years. Where do you think they will go when they go back to their country? Like they're being forced to leave South Africa. How are they going to start their life?
Yeah, but you see, this is where the part where I said let's remove emotions aside, and I think you're missing the details. You're deliberately missing what I said. Those permits were never permanent. Can we just agree on that? That they were given a specific time and period. And even though they were given a specific time, they kept extending the time. They even extended the time they were initially given. So to get to your point is, these people knew that this was gonna happen. Shouldn't they have prepared themselves? That's the kind of. I'm just gonna ask that. Don't you think, in common sense, says with the period they were given? Let's say your company says you're gonna be on 3-year contract, and then you work. On your last 6 months of working, they tell you that, look, we're not gonna renew your contract. You're gonna have to leave after this 6 months. Shouldn't in that 6 months you be preparing yourself for the next venture of your life?
Okay, Lozi, I'm going to hold on to your question. Let me open the mic for Brother Tapera, who just joined us. You can unmute, Brother Tapera, and give us your own views. And also, okay, let me unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. Brother Tapera, unmute and give us your. Okay, I think we have lost him. Please join again, Brother Tapera. You can join again. And also, I just want to address, there is someone, I'm not sure if it's my sister or what, or it's a guy. He said, by the way, the host is Zimbabwean. That is why she supports undocumented Zimbabweans in South Africa. Well, I am a Zimbabwean, yes, but I am not supporting anyone. I am a media personality. Maybe you don't know. I am the chief editor of iAfrica 24 News. But that is why I engage everyone so that I can hear every side. I'm not siding with anybody, but I just disagree when it comes to issues of, like, for example, someone dying and everything. So I bring dialogue to bring in everyone so that we can discuss these issues together. So I hope you are answered on that part.
Can I just say something, my sister?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I'm actually impressed because when just calling today has changed my perspective about you, because you sound so biased. Like before this, for me, you only sounded so biased. So I feel like there's a room to improve because you're capable to listen to the other side, So I appreciate that, because other people with agenda could have blocked me a long time ago. If I don't resonate well with what they pushing, they could have just blocked me. So I appreciate the fact that you are able to listen to me, because I think you got good audience, especially from Zimbabwe. So I think it's good that they can also hear our side, especially someone like me who's trying to use logic and all that. So I think this is good.
Yes.
So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Tapera, you can please join in again, brother. I don't know how we lost you, so you can still let me reshare the link. Anyway, both go ahead, please.
Oh, I was still not agreeing with what he was saying, that the government is not supporting to push the Zimbabweans out. If you look at other countries, when you go out, like, isn't it supposed to be like after certain years, when you live on a certain country, you must be given maybe a permanent res or something like that? Was these things, I mean, it's now a long time, more than 10 years in a country. You cannot just be pushed because saying, no, it has expired. And then they were renewing these permits. And now the reason why they are pushing them away, as you said, for sure, is for them to gain the votes, like the ANC, which is the government, which is ruling. Now they want to push the Zimbabweans because the citizens are saying Zimbabweans are taking our jobs, and it's more like only a Zimbabwean is a foreigner in South Africa. And I think if you ask those people, like you were saying before, people in deep screwed, if you ask them what is a foreigner, I think they can only say a Zimbabwean is a foreigner. They don't even know that what's the definition of a foreigner. And
can I respond, my brother?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the issue I have with most Africans, and I'm really disappointed because I hold Zimbabweans as one of the highly immigrants in South Africa, because when I chat with Zimbabweans, they tend to really be listen, and I think it's education, right? You guys tend to want to see the other side of the story. Now you are being emotional and you don't listen to what I say. You are missing details. First of all, just because a country says you can have this certain privileges after living for 10 years in terms of visa, getting residential, all that, getting the residence benefits and all that, it doesn't mean after 10 years, you automatically get those things. There's a process, and you need to be approved. So first of all, the people who got the ZEP permit in South Africa, from the go, they were here for a specific purpose and a specific time and a specific approach. It was not based on a normal process that they normally follow. That's a big factor. And if you can listen to our official Aaron Mutwale, who's the Minister of Home Affairs, there's one video that he's talking about this. He's breaking it down so well. You can go listen to it. Your focus shouldn't even be on that 250 Zimbabweans, because I feel like the media is just blowing this thing out of proportion. I'm telling you, there's about more than 5 million Zimbabweans in South Africa. That's where you should actually be looking at. That 250 is actually literally nothing. The government wouldn't even use them to chase Zimbabweans away. I never said the government actually is. There's a word you said. You said our government is trying to get rid of the Zimbabweans. Did you just say? Because I'm losing a train of my thoughts here. Did you say?
Yeah. Yes, it's like they are trying to, like, if you talk of 5 million people, we cannot talk of those who are undocumented. There's no way they can take their South African jobs, because the companies shouldn't employing those people. So
have you been in South Africa?
We cannot count on those people. It's like now they have to sue the company which is going to employ the one who is undocumented.
Have you been in South Africa before?
Yes, I've been in South Africa.
Which area? Which province, for example?
I've been in Joburg. I lived in Soweto.
Okay. Do you understand how the multi corporations work? Because they're looking for what we call slave wage, slave what they call the word, the cheap labor. That's what they will always. They thrive on that. Do you know that it's easy to exploit someone who's not a South African, because the labor corporation doesn't really protect those people. The labor institution doesn't really protect those people. And we live here. For you to come here and tell me that the illegal migrants in South Africa are not exploited, what do you think they live on? What do you think you think all of them are just selling sweets and all of them are in crime for survival? How do you think these people are earning a living if you think some of them are not employed? I mean, let's use common sense here, please. Let's remove our emotions.
Okay, yes, they are there. They are taking them. So, do you think now they are going to clear them out? Because if I don't have papers, I shouldn't worry that they are saying Zimbabweans must go. Because those people, they are still going to remain there, and they are still going to cross the borders coming back, because they now know how to live in South Africa. The people
can we try hard to be good with our wedding? Nobody is saying Zimbabweans must go, especially anybody at the official level or even South Africans who are in the middle working class. Maybe the poor might comment something there and say something every now and then. But the people are fighting for illegal migrants. Illegal migrants could be anyone, right? In South Africa, in the streets, the word is not that Zimbabweans must go. That's not what's happening. Some people might say that, but the majority of people are basically focusing on the general problem, which is illegal migrants. Trust me, my brother. You are a Zimbabwean. If you come with the right papers in South Africa, I work with Zimbabweans. Just that now I've changed my company, but I worked with a company that had about 7 Zimbabweans. There's no such thing that Zimbabweans are a target in the streets of South Africa. The people are fighting illegal migrants. Can you just put yourself in our shoes and think like us for a second and see what we see and what we faced with? Please, my brother, I'm begging you, because the word is not that Zimbabweans are hated or what. Yes, Zimbabweans are the largest group of migrants in South Africa. They will be the most affected. That's a common sense. That's just a common sense.
Okay, so let's say the magic word here that we should not forget is illegal. Illegal, that is the magic word that we should not forget in our discussion. So we're saying illegal immigrants. I mean, we know the problem of illegal immigrants, because each and every country has got its own laws. There's no way you can travel anywhere in the world and live illegally. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, so we should also not forget that issue. But then there's a group that is, that is running by hashtag Put South Africans First. I was following that as well, and I realized that some of the things that they're saying were like, whether you are documented or not documented, there are some jobs you just cannot take.
Yeah.
I'm directing it to Lozi. The issue of put South Africans first. And okay, let me read here some comments. Someone is saying, in the first place, this is the failure of the South African government, just like all the government in Africa. The problem may be different, but African governments failed their people. And then another one says, no life is illegal. The word undocumented is proper. Okay, let's use the word undocumented. Both are anything that you want to add on this issue. How did you see the issue of the of the Zimbabwean guy who got killed in South Africa?
I didn't follow it that much, that story, but it's so sad to lose a life like that.
Okay, so you are not really well versed on the story and how it happened.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened and what makes it that way.
Okay. So anyway, I was directing a question to Lozi, but unfortunately we lost his we lost the audio there.
Okay,
I was
do you
directing a
hear me
question to
now?
you. Okay,
Do you
thank
hear
you so
me
much.
now?
I was actually putting across the issue of put South Africans first, where they're saying whether you are documented or undocumented, the issue is please, companies, stop employing foreigners before you consider South Africans.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yes, I can. You're clear.
Okay. Look, put South African first. It's a movement like Operation Dudula. They're not in government. They just communities raising issues that affect them as South Africans.
Yes.
Here's what is happening global at a global level, depending on how developed the country is and how the constitutions are. South Africa, it's a developing country, right? We don't have our capacity to manufacture and create labor. It's not of the developed nation, so we still consider low skilled jobs to be reserved for our locals because of the needs and the wants. If for example, I've seen Canada asking the South African truck drivers to come and join that side. Canada is a very developed country. They might have a room for that. I don't think South Africa is in a position where we could be asking Congo to bring their truck drivers here. We don't need them. We've got enough of them, right? I think I agree with put South African first when they say, is it possible that on our visa, it's on record that you should be in South Africa for specific reasons and specific purpose and specific time, mainly being that if you're not an asylum seeker, can it be that these migrants are either bringing scarce skilled jobs that we need to improve our economy? If it's an investor, can it be that is a person who's going to come and create jobs for our people? And if you are touring in South Africa, can you just leave after your days of you were given the days to tour are done? If it's 90 days, yeah, these are things. And this, I think, looking at South Africa today and the situation, what we're facing, I think it makes sense. I mean, for me personally, 5 years ago, I didn't think like this. I didn't even know more about the laws. But this just makes sense. I think even Zimbabwe is the same. You go to Botswana, the laws is the same. The low-skilled jobs are reserved for the people. I saw Mnangagwa tweeting 2 months ago. He said, we are open for business. Zimbabwe is open for business. We welcome all the corporations, international corporations, but the low-skilled jobs are reserved for Zimbabweans. This is your president. This was your own president, Botha, saying this. So you cannot want to apply what you don't apply in your house to South Africa. That's just not fair. Let's be fair here.
It's true.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that's true. But
yeah, so when I'm summing it up, I would like to say we understand where South Africa is coming from. When it comes to jobs, locals need jobs. I ran a story where President Cyril Ramaphosa was actually saying companies should employ locals. However, some companies were saying, but South Africans are not skilled enough. Okay, there was an issue with is it Huawei? If I'm not mistaken,
Huawei that employed 90% of immigrants.
Yeah, so Huawei was like their company was employing, their highest level of foreigners, and even from the top level, there wasn't any South African there. And then they were like, South Africans are not skilled, right? And then
do you really believe that?
That I disagree. People say South Africans are not skilled.
Do you really believe that?
They are skilled South Africans. And
because South Africa, sorry, Brother Botta, can I just raise this? Please, sorry, Brother Botta. I'll try to not step on your way when you speak. I really need to make this point because this is what makes South African blood boil, and this is the talk of the streets in Africa. Do you know that South Africa is the most advanced country in Africa, right? And we can all say historically it makes sense. We have got a white population as well, the largest white population that played a role in this. We all know that. But how can we sit with the most advanced nation and South Africans are in these corporations if we're not skilled? How did we get there? How did we get this level of development? I hate that wording because it's us Africans not being honest with ourselves, and this is not going to solve the issue of Africans. We need to start being honest with the issues that we are facing as Africans, but then belittling each other. That word is used to look down on South Africans, be it is the corporation saying that or the migrants. That's just undermining us, and it makes us mad because we worked hard for South Africa to be where it is. Before 1994, no black African will be allowed to walk free in South Africa. We had to fight so that everyone can just come here and enjoy with us. But today, we are told that we are lazy. We are told that we are not skilled by the same people who we put effort to come and be able to work with us to build South Africa. Guys, let's try to respect each other and let's try to have honest approach in this so that we can address the big elephant in the room and stop being petty. We don't have to go down that road. It's cheap. It's scapegoating. It's just not honest as Africans. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Okay, but it is being said that other African countries helped South Africa fight, during the struggle in South Africa. So why is it now South Africa is saying it's just them who fought, and yet other Africans came in and joined them?
Okay, I need to respond to that, and I'm gonna be very clear on that. For the past 28 years, which is the years of the new South Africa from 1994, South Africa has helped many African countries, including the ones who claim to have helped us, more than what they can be able to repay us in the coming 8 years. You get my point? South Africa has done 10 times more than any country that will come in and claim to have helped us during apartheid. So when are we going to have a conversation about that? Because I can bring facts. If you want to know what I'm talking about and how South Africa helping this countries, we can talk about that as well. You know that South Africa is giving the largest aid to African countries after the Western. It's South Africa that gives more aid. We spend more than $6 billion on other African countries annually. So people must stop to bring that historical event, that one moment where they helped South Africa, while we have done 10 times more than they did for us. So we need to be, that's what I'm saying, Africans need to start being honest with themselves. I know we've got a few resources. I know we are all disparate, but please, even in the moment of being disparate, let's still be honest. That's how we're going to build the greatest continent on the world, on earth. We need to address these things with an honest approach.
I think South African government also, they are not honest when they're saying companies that are employing the only, like mostly Zimbabweans, because they are skilled or something like that. They have to create jobs for everyone, for South Africans, because if you look at the population of the number of the people who are not working in South Africa, now it's too much. It's not only about skilled or what. And South Africans are skilled and they are educated. And maybe if I can say, maybe Zimbabweans are not even that educated like what people they say that they are educated. Zimbabweans, they know nothing. They know theory. They
you
don't
see
know.
you see can I explain to you? Because you see guys, as Africans, I don't know if it's English or what, let's be careful with our wording. Zimbabweans are educated, Zimbabweans are skilled, South Africans are skilled, South Africans are educated. It's just that for the past 20 years, Zimbabwean education system has went down slightly. Zimbabweans are number eight in Africa when it comes to literacy rate. Literacy rate. So even if Zimbabwe is still worse, they still managed to obtain number 8, which is not worse. We've got 54 countries on the continent. South Africa, second most educated people in Africa and most skilled. But pre-1994 was not the same, right? So it's all economy and government, you know. So a working government, a working economy will produce skilled people. So the current South Africa has got more skilled South Africans than any country in Africa, if you look at stats. But that's not my point. I don't want to be addressing those petty things. The point is, my brother, as a South African, I understand where Zimbabwe is standing. I understand that you guys do need jobs in part of South Africa as well, because practically speaking, economy of Zimbabwe it needs help. And the fact that the southern region hasn't done anything in the past 15 years in terms of not just allowing Zimbabweans to come in their countries, because that's not the help that Zimbabwe needs. We have to talk about liberating the economy of Zimbabwe. Allowing Zimbabwe in our countries is no longer the help that Zimbabwe needs. That's not a practical solution. So we need to move away from these petty talks, who's more skilled, who's more educated, and address the elephant in the room.
And
the elephant in the room.
Elephant in the house. That is the most important thing. That is the most important. When I started this video, when the earliest times I started it, I said, you know, we might start fighting, killing each other in this, but there is a bigger problem here that we need to all agree and face.
Yeah, we have to agree on that. Yeah.
Up until the economy of Zimbabwe is back and running, even if we put electrical fence, they're gonna still find a way to come in, because when people want to eat, you're not gonna stop them. You get that's the practical solution. Is South Africa has got large corporations in Africa. Look at how much we have invested in Nigeria alone. You know, South Africa, annually, we put more than 1 billion in South African companies. In Nigeria, we've got more than 120 companies there, right? How do we lift the economy of Zimbabwe? That's where we must be we must be looking, because if our corporations can expand more in Zimbabwe, that means more jobs for Zimbabweans, right? Because this is what was there in Zimbabwe before the land ownership. They destroyed Zimbabwe by sanctioning Zimbabwe, but not only that, they blocked the trade. They stopped the corporations to function there, and that's destroying the labor. That's why now the Zimbabweans are running to South Africa. So if we can lift the labor force in Zimbabwe, that means most Zimbabweans don't even want to be in South Africa. Everybody loves their country. Everybody loves the place of their birth. You want to see those trees you grew up seeing in Zimbabwe. You want to see those mountains, the rivers. People miss that, but they are forced to be here. And South Africa is becoming more hostile. It's becoming more hostile because we are forced now to carry the burden of Africa, because African governments, including mine, are not doing their job, you know.
Yeah, that's
anyway,
true.
so I think you are aware that next year, 2023, Zimbabwe is going to be having their presidential elections. And, you know, we have this thing of thinking, you know, change of government will make things better or what. But I want to bring it to you, and I want to bring it on the table. Do you think with the situation that is happening right now, if there's any change whatsoever to come into Zimbabwe, can it turn things around?
I think I don't see ZANU-PF letting go of power that easily. And I think the answer lies in South Africa, Botswana, and Namibia, you know, and Angola. These are powerful countries in the south. So either could be in the AU or in the SADC, they need to decide very soon what's the future of us as Africans. Fuck the Western influence, right? Because I believe the Western influence is what holding South Africa from releasing the potential of Zimbabwe, right? We need to stand as Africans and say, we put in our hands on the table. Zimbabwean economy needs to be lifted because this is affecting everyone. You know, the Zimbabweans have held on for so many years. It's time Zimbabwe needs to be lifted. And I don't see ZANU-PF taking Zimbabwe in the next revolution, just like ANC. I don't see ANC taking South Africa in the next step, right? We need to make sure that ZANU-PF used to cheat the elections and South Africa was aware, as Botswana and Namibia, and they did fuck all. Today, these leaders are trying to cry that we've got issue of Zimbabweans crossing, but they did nothing when ZANU-PF was bullying the Zimbabweans. Wasn't it South Africa during apartheid that we cried and asked for help from other international countries to assist us in fighting the regime government? Can we not say ZANU-PF is like a regime government? Then we use the same approach to lift the people of Zimbabwe. Because if ZANU-PF is in power, but millions of Zimbabweans are running from Zimbabwe, that's a problem. And the problem is the government. So that government needs to leave so that the new government can be able to negotiate with other international corporations and other global power playing countries. Because this is the thing. People always say Mandela sold out. Here's what's happening in the world. We as Africans are not yet organized. We got other Western countries controlling the trade and everything. Zimbabwe still needs to let go of their pride, go sit on the table and negotiate, because these people control power at the end of the day, whether you like it or not. That move of chasing the whites there, it's just it's a tip of an iceberg, right? These people own the world. So when people have got power beyond you, you need to learn to sit down with your enemy and negotiate, which is what Mandela did. Zimbabweans, the government of Zimbabwe need to start making moves, especially the new government that might come in power. They need to have a different approach, understand the current world we live in, learn to negotiate, build your generation, and one day maybe you might completely liberate yourself, your people. But you're not going to liberate them in poverty. Trust me, that's just a recipe for disaster.
But anyway, let's look at what happened in Malawi. We saw that in Malawi, people had the same belief that when we change the government, things are going to be okay. Things will start to work well for the country. But now we have seen again the similar issue coming out where people are complaining now. People are saying the government is not doing enough. We even saw, President Chakwera, dissolving, everybody. Okay. So my thing is it anything to do with the change of government or just the approach? And also we are seeing the similar thing almost happening in Zambia right now. The new government is in, okay, the old one is gone, but still people are saying we are not seeing any changes. We are still in poverty. We still don't have jobs. Hey, this is Africa. If you want to join the lesson, I've just put in the link so that you can join in there. Hey, Botha, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
You're following?
Yeah. When it comes to, I think Zambia, for me, I think it's too early for we to say that that guy is failing. I think he's still making his cabinet in order. You can see he's firing some ministers, those who are not working, he's firing them. So I think let's give him another 2 years or a year. But Zimbabwe,
if you are hungry, you don't have 2 years if you are hungry, 2 years is too long.
But when it comes to Zimbabwe, yes, we need a change in Zimbabwe. We need to try something new, because those guys, they only tell us all about they go to war, and the likes, and we are also fighting our own war at our generation. We need to liberate ourselves, and then we really need help from countries like South Africa. If I can say, maybe Cyril Ramaphosa is letting us down. I think he needs to negotiate with the Zimbabwean government. I think we see Thabo Mbeki when he was in power, and which is the thing that makes him South African to say he must step down. I think he was trying something. But then South
Okay.
African, then they say, no, now we are wasting time negotiating with Zimbabwe. We are leaving our South Africa here, going to Zimbabwe. Then they chase him away.
Okay,
But
so
still,
one sister,
Ramaphosa must play a role.
okay. Let
Yeah,
me
you
read a
can go
comment
ahead.
from one sister. She says, what Zimbabwe and Africa as a whole needs is not negotiating with a system that disenfranchised us. We need new systems that are controlled by and work for Africa. Western systems were never for us.
Okay, can I address that approach?
Okay, go ahead, please.
Look, we live in a world where now it's called a global village. Whether we like it or not, the West control the global trade. We can work towards isolating Africa if we can speak the same language as Africans. I'm talking about at the government level, where these guys can agree at AU and say we're not doing this and that. The problem is each and every African country behave as an individual. That's the problem we have now, and that's why we are forced to still go back and negotiate with our enemies in terms of the corporations they believe in, the corporations that they bring here. You know, the type of laws that we must pass, because if you look at even South Africa, it's running on international laws. These are not actually laws that are at the major part that influence South Africa. These are not laws but that are passed by ANC. I don't believe that. And if we say, I don't really believe that South Africa is just not doing anything about Zimbabwean situation. There's like external forces here that are involved, and these are powerful countries that are telling South Africa that if you even dare do this, it's gonna play like this. Look, for example, how Putin forced himself on Ukraine, because Russia can do that because Russia is powerful as well, right? But they were trying to dictate to Putin what he must do. So think about a poor country like South Africa, and we're trying to make certain moves in Zimbabwe. Do you think they're going to allow us? First of all, they're the ones who sanctioned Zimbabwe. They sanctioned Zimbabwe because they wanted to cripple Zimbabwe. You think now they're going to sit and fold their arms and watch South Africa trying to bring Zimbabwe back to life? We can do that if the entire Africa was behind us. Now, the entire Africa is not united. If South Africa makes those moves alone, they're going to come for us as well. And you know what happens when they come for you. So we need to be careful with what we do. Even the southern region is not one. The western region is not one. Central region is not one. DRC is still fighting to join the eastern region. Imagine at this age, we are still fighting to join each other, where we were supposed to really be speaking one language. Why are we allowing the rebels to do that in DRC? Why are we allowing Boko Haram in Nigeria? Ethiopia has been attacked with Somalia by the Western. No country in Africa is doing anything. Egypt is so-called, their military is the most powerful in Africa, but are they saving Africa or are they saving the Middle East and America? So we need to understand the moment you start to think that Zimbabwe, it's an island with South Africa, we can just do this and this, you're missing the bigger picture. There's external forces here that are involved, bigger countries that influence the global economy. And that's what happened with Zimbabwe. When Mugabe miscalculated his calculations, you saw what happened. We all saw that. When Gaddafi miscalculated his calculations, we saw what happened. Every African leader, when they miscalculate one step, they just need that one step, one excuse, they fuck you up, and your generations are gonna suffer for the coming 50 years or 100 years.
Yeah. So another person wrote, I think the African mind is the problem. The African mind needs to liberate themselves first. Every people deserve the kind of government they have because government comes from the people.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true. You see, that point is so much true because what I've seen with most African mindsets, at least I'll say outside South Africa, they put the government first. They believe the government will be the solution. You see, in South Africa, when the government doesn't do anything, we take the next thing is we are on the streets. And I think it's because during apartheid, we were so oppressed that we learned to fight even when they're going to shoot us. So I think most Africans, they are scared to be shot. Once you can show your government that you are ready to sacrifice your life, that alone, you've got nothing to lose. right? You take it to the street. The government of South Africa knows us. If they don't comply, if it goes to the streets, the whole country will ban. And that's what you must make your government know, that it must be clear that if things don't go, the people must govern the country, not the government governing everyone. The people shall govern. That's what's happening. That what if we're going to take down ZANU-PF, even the people themselves have to rise. They have to rise above the bullets. You're going to have to take a bullet for the next generation. Then what happens sometimes for liberation? You're going to have to put your mind, says, forget about the world of today and put yourself at the front and take a bullet. I don't know. That's what happened with our parents.
Yeah, we do try to take some bullets, but SADC, man, they don't get involved. If you see our last elections, how many people were killed after election? But then our SADC leaders, they were just being biased, supporting their ZANU-PF brother, you see. So,
but we go back to what I'm saying. Do you think these guys are really in charge to even help Zimbabwe? Don't you think there's other external forces involved? Like look at Botswana. We've got we've got the USA military camp there in Botswana. What are they fucking doing there? What are they observing? You see, at which interest they there? So we need to understand that our leaders are puppet leaders. You know, they only, I mean, you have to, that we go back to what I said. The Western control the global trade. With that alone, at some point you're gonna have to learn to negotiate with them, lift your generation in terms of education, living standards, and advancement. At some point you might make moves, and I think that's how Mandela approached the whole thing. Mandela knew that he didn't totally liberate South Africa, but he had to sacrifice for like a generational cause, the generational aim, because once the enemy is that powerful, it's like a suicide. If you go to war, it's like those 300 Spartacus who were facing the 64,000 Persian soldiers. How the fuck do you go fight 64,000 people when you just 300? The enemy is just too powerful. Can you negotiate? If the enemy says, yeah, we can negotiate, take that role. That's what I believe as Zimbabwe should have done. Then if Zimbabwe was still running well, imagine how far Zimbabwe will be now. And then we can make moves when our economy is standing. Look at Russia. Putin didn't just wake up and bomb Ukraine. They built the nuclear weapons first. They had to do they prepared their military first. Mugabe made those bold moves without even calculating, predicting the future, what the outcomes. That's what happened. So we need to have a different approach. The new government of Zimbabwe is going to have to give a leg at some point just to negotiate. You have to look at the current Africa. The current Africa is not ready to back you up. Zimbabwe has been in this mess for the past 20 years. No African country other than South Africa and Botswana has really helped the people of Zimbabwe. So you do realize that you are on your own. You are literally on your own. When you are on your own, you learn to negotiate with your enemy.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Do we have if anyone wants to join the live stream, guys? I think I'll be winding it up. We want to thank Lozi. Lozi, I think my email is in the my email is on the, what do you call it, the subscription box. That's where my email is.
Oh, okay.
So let me just type it there so that okay, let's see. Where's this thing? Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Loss, for raising some points. I think you're a politician, right?
No, I'm just a normal citizen. I'm not
a citizen who's passionate about his country affairs.
Are you running a business? Because you talk of it seems like you do understand about the corporation.
Yeah, but you see, you don't need to be a politician to understand that. But most politicians don't even know anything, you know. Especially, it's only the top officials that are like very aware and very informed. Most politicians are just con artists. They're just looking for themselves. They just want to feed their stomach. So, politics is not a career that I like, you know. My father was a politician, and that's where I hated politics, you know. So yeah, it's like I don't aspire to be one.
I said I don't aspire to be one, but this is what I'm always like, is telling people that, guys, we need to always be in the know of what is happening around us. We have to
Yeah,
take a keen
true.
interest of what is happening in our countries, in the region,
Yes.
in the continent,
Yeah.
and in the world in general. Because when you have this understanding, you also know why some situations are like this. Okay,
Mm,
so that is why
mm.
especially the young people, just know
Yeah,
what is happening. Don't see a press conference happening and say, it's for journalists, it's for
yes,
those ones. Just get
yes,
involved, listen to what these politicians are saying, go on Twitter, follow the trend,
yeah.
follow the news, follow what is happening around you. In that way, you have an understanding.
Yeah, and you making valid points, and once you have a generation, like your large population is aware of the surroundings and the international affairs, that's how you can be able to organize yourselves. You can be able to maneuver around even your own government at home, because you now see how other countries have organized themselves. Why is China building that? Is it a government building in Zimbabwe? What's happening with that? I don't know. Was it just
Parliament.
a there's this building in Zimbabwe that it's a government building. I don't know if it's
It's
like
a
a
parliament
Parliament,
it's
it
building.
like
is.
a
Yeah.
what's the friendship between Zimbabwe? Because look, at this point, I won't blame the government of Zimbabwe what they decide to do in the future, who they work with, because honestly, Zimbabwe has been under pressure and they've been left alone to be eaten by the wolves. You get my point? It's like Africa has really betrayed Zimbabwe at this point, and I honestly feel for Zimbabweans. But what you guys decide in the near future, who you trade with, trust me, I understand every situation. So I just want to understand that reward was it just a free building? What's happening with that development from China?
Me, I don't understand it either, whether it's just a contract that they get or what. I don't know.
But man, I was
It's just
looking.
like if China-Africa bilateral relations, okay, China has been bringing in projects into different
Yeah,
African countries, right?
yeah,
And,
yeah.
especially after the fall of, the relationship with the West, you
The
had to
West,
find
yeah.
another trading partner, and China was available for that. And we
Yes,
should
yes.
also,
I agree.
in as much as China-Africa relationship is being condemned, people saying bad things about it, but to a certain extent, they have been there, okay? They've
Yeah,
been there when no one
look,
else was there.
they still vultures, but their approach it's better than the Western. They're not that brutal as the Western, because the Western just take and take. They don't care. So, and Mugabe had a good relationship with the president of China. I remember that as well. I was looking at this lady called Africa Tigress, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I
She
know
was
her.
doing the vlogs in Zimbabwe. You guys, I don't know. Zimbabwe is still good, man. You guys, even through hardships, you've maintained your infrastructures. It's amazing, And honestly, I think there's a future somewhere for Zimbabwean people and the country. You guys just need to start believing in yourselves. You start to.
Trust you me, people do believe in themselves. Let me tell you something about the resilience of Zimbabwean people. If it was another country, if it was another people who are weak-hearted, I'm telling you, Zimbabwe would have been, you would have seen worse things,
Yeah,
So people of
yeah,
Zimbabwe, they are resilient. They will
yeah,
see a
yeah.
problem, yes, but they will still find a way of surviving. In as much as things are very hard like this, you go to Zimbabwe, you find that they have stood, Zimbabwe is still standing because of the resilience of its people. That is why you see, when you see a Zimbabwean dying, when they're trying to make a living, they're being killed when they're trying to hustle. It's so difficult, and that is why some people come in emotionally when they're talking about these issues, because they understand where they're coming from. It has been decades and decades and decades of trouble, okay, for Zimbabweans. So they are really, determined people, okay. They are building houses, they are buying cars, even under very, very difficult circumstances. You see, so that is why sometimes people who will be commenting on these issues, they're commenting on an emotional side of things. Okay, someone says what? Okay, someone is commending Brother Lozi. Someone is saying, Lozi, you are a true brother. You are a youth leader. Okay, there. Someone is saying politics is for everyone. It affects us all. The affairs of your country must be your business. Politics is not dirty. It's made dirty by people with dirty intentions. And then here someone is saying China is invading Zimbabwe as it is invading all of Africa. I don't know why Zim government trusts that building. It bugs were what we found in the AU headquarters of Africa. Let's wake up. We have our own resources and skills. Okay, yeah. So I think for now we shouldn't. Let's not, indulge in China-Africa relationship. We're going to have another time for it, because I think that one is a different ball game altogether. Okay, there are so many issues, so many things to be tackled when we start to talk about China-Africa relationship or China-Zimbabwe, China-Zambia. We know what has been happening, so I think that one is a topic for another day on its own.
That's very true.
So at this moment, the only thing that we wanted to cover was the issue of South Africa. Okay, the issue of South Africa.
Oh, yeah.
I stayed in South Africa before. When I got there, I had to take my certificates to SAQA for validation and everything. So when I lived there, everything was done, properly. Okay, following what is required. Okay, so I had to register my documentation with SAQA. I got accredited and everything. But all I'm saying is the situation right now, we are finding that a lot of Zimbabweans are in South Africa because acquiring proper documentation is very difficult, for everyone. So people just find when the system also, like, let's talk about the system in South Africa. Also, when the system allows for such things to happen, people will use it. Okay, if South Africa didn't have a system whereby people can just, also enter South Africa and live, maybe if the borders were strong enough and everything, we wouldn't be seeing a lot of some of these things. But at the same time, we also appreciate South Africa for accommodating Zimbabweans. 2008 was a very, very hard year. This is where we saw the influx of Zimbabweans into South Africa because the situation was very bad. And South Africa opened its arms for Zimbabweans. They gave people asylums. They opened, the special permits specifically for Zimbabweans who were struggling. And for years and years, Zimbabweans have been living in South Africa. Of course, there are some people who failed to acquire those documentations. There are some people who failed to get those, those permits. But generally, most of the people who applied for those permits when they came out got, regardless of whether, skills or whatever, people just got permits in South Africa. We should also, commend South Africa for that. But now the issue is saying that, as time goes on, things begin to change, right? Things change, even those Zimbabweans, even other foreigners coming into South Africa, they get to relax, they're taking South Africa as home, where you can just walk around just like a local. Okay, but because the locals are also seeing these things happening and, wherever people are, there is, interest, like these little jobs. We go there, Zimbabwe, because as an immigrant, trust you me, wherever you go around, as an immigrant, when you find a job, even they can tell you, okay, a local person might want to get 10,000, but me, I will say, okay, if they say 5,000, I will take the 5,000. Because for me, it's just a matter of survival. Okay, so I think those are some of the issues again that have been happening in South Africa, whereby cheap labor gets the best of it. So instead of companies employing local South Africans who have got departments that control the labor department that say as a worker they need to be paid this much, they have to work for certain hours and everything. They would rather look for a foreigner who comes in and say, even if they're going to be made to work for 10 hours, 15 hours, with that a small salary, they will agree because all they want to do is to survive. Then it becomes a problem with the locals. Okay, so I think we understand where everything is, but all in all, we are saying violence is not the answer. Okay, we don't need to kill each other like that. We don't need to to be hostile to each other. Like if I see a South African, all I see is these people, they hate Africans. These people, they hate Africans. You understand? We don't need to be working like that. Okay, we understand the issues of Operation Dudula. We understand where they're coming from. Put South Africa first. We also understand, what they're talking about. But at the end of the day, let's just, not kill each other. Let's just try not to kill each other.
I just want to ask something different from Lozi.
Oh, yes, brother.
What's your take on people from Lesotho who are in South Africa? Like they feel like they also they are also South Africans. Like if they see Zimbabweans, also they see them like they are foreigners. While they forget that also they come from
Interesting.
another country.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, and there's bias among us South Africans when it comes to that. I remember when Limpopo used to be called Northern Province, and we were there was never today when we changed the name Northern Province to Limpopo. Limpopo started to be like witchcraft comes from Limpopo. You know, I think sometimes it's a
It's true.
colonial mindset. People from Lesotho are seen as South African. I don't know. There's this accepted that we just accept.
I think it's volume.
Yeah, it's the audio. I think it's something to do with the audio, but he will be back. Okay. Yeah, I truly understand also what you're talking about, whereby.
Hello,
Oh, okay,
can you
he's
hear me
back.
now? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was I was saying there's this biased approach that we normally see people from Lesotho as South Africans, even though Lesotho is a country on its own. But and Botswana as well. But when it comes to Zimbabweans and Mozambique, I don't know if it's the name of the countries or it's the we just hate them or what. But there's that bias that I know my people have, and they will just see Mozambicans and Zimbabweans as like proper foreigners. But when it comes to Botswana and Lesotho, we tend to be biased. Could be the culture. I don't know. Could be the culture as well because we've basically got large population of Lesotho and Botswana in South Africa than those countries as well. So, but I just gave an example when Limpopo used to be called Northern Province. It was more accepted. Then the name changed to Limpopo to a more native African name, and then started to say people from Limpopo, witchcraft and stuff. I don't know if it's the
Yeah.
name of Zimbabwe or Mozambique. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Sometimes, look, it's we still have tribalism. We're not a perfect society. You know, we still have got racism. We are human beings. We are biased. You know, we are biased. We're human beings, but we
Yeah.
need to improve. We need to improve on those things.
It's true.
Because
It's true.
I can tell you those guys from Lesotho they are more brutal like that than Zimbabweans. Even people if they can say Zimbabweans they are committing crimes,
You
but
see,
also from Lesotho
I
that
don't
way.
like these takes, brother. This approach, I don't buy into this kind of this like approach, and that's why I said let's be careful with our wedding. Let's remove emotions. Let's deal with the elephant in the room. I know the Lesotho people here. I stay in Johannesburg as much as the Zimbabweans. I'm exposed to both. There's one Zimbabwean guy that I drink with in the nearest place that I live. The guy is honest. He loves South Africans, and we chat a lot. I'm honest about. We are honest. You see, we need to start being honest. I can tell him how I feel about Zimbabweans and the country and the economy in an honest position without being biased. You don't have to say Basotho are brutal. We don't really know all these people. I don't really know all the Zimbabweans. That what I know is we are all desperate. We are all chasing the scarce resources, you know, and it must be seen as such. When we start to say the Basotho are brutal than the Zimbabweans, I don't buy that because we are all Southern Africans. What I've seen that is really different is when it comes to the Western Africans and the Eastern. That's a far different culture. The Nigerians are involved in drugs and human trafficking. The Eastern guys tend to own spaza shops and stuff. Those are things you can see, you know, those are things that are visible to your eye. But to say Zimbabweans or Basotho, one is more brutal, we have got, I don't see that. Honestly, in terms of culture, we behave the same. We eat the same things, we look the same. So we more the same culturally than different. But when it comes to Nigerians, I can tell you that yeah, if you say they're involved in drugs, which is a global problem, that's a fact, then they are involved. They are brutal in
It's
that sense.
recorded.
But I don't see Basotho and Zimbabwe being different in terms of who's brutal and who's not. I don't know that. I don't have
But
evidence.
I'm talking like I stayed with them. Like they really kill those guys. Honestly speaking, they really
Maybe
kill.
that could be your experience. Someone can
Yeah,
say that about Zimbabwean. Someone can say that about South
some
Africans. You
of
know
the
that,
things that they do, like it's not. It doesn't. The media they don't broadcast those things. Like especially, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, there was a violence in Eastern Cape, Western Cape. There,
They are seen as South Africans. That's the thing. They are seen as South Africans, and Zimbabweans are
They are
not seen
seen
as
as
South
South
Africans.
Africans. I understand that.
Yeah,
I think they can fuse in easily
yeah,
compared to
yeah,
Zimbabweans, you know.
yeah. So when they
Yeah.
commit crime, it's accepted because, well, we just assume they are South Africans. And remember also what you are exposed to. It's a factor. If you come to South Africa and live among the community that has got a specific group of Basotho people who are trying to survive, you're gonna be exposed to a specific group of Basotho. If I'm in South Africa living in an area full of mixed people from around of Africa, I've seen Zimbabweans, Basotho, Ethiopians, but this is a higher earning environment. I'm gonna be exposed to a different mindset of those Africans. But if I go to deep sleuths, I'm gonna get a different mindset of Zimbabweans or Mozambicans. That's just it's more of economy than anything, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, someone saying they are bad and good people everywhere. Stereotypes are not the answer,
But the only thing
Yeah, I
that I
agree.
which is
like about South Africans, when you meet South Africans who are outside South Africa, they have a different mindset. They think good, like they talk nice with you. If they see you, they see a brother. I like
Yeah,
that.
but that's
I wish that
but that's
I have
we
lived
should
in South
be like
Africa, but
that.
I think I have lived with South Africans. I think it's not about being South African or it's not about being Zimbabwean.
yeah,
I also want to agree with someone who says there are good and bad people on every side. You go to South Africa and you're going to meet very bad South Africans, and you are going to also meet very bad Zimbabweans. Okay,
Yeah,
so
even
I
if you go to
think
Zimbabwe,
yeah,
there's
so I think the stereotyping of saying South Africa is this, is Zimbabwe, these are just some of the things that again will bring issues like ending up having people killed. Because already we have this
exactly.
thing of thinking South African, you know, South Africans are very violent people, South Africans they just kill people. So, you understand? So if we just look at people as people, it's easier.
Look, I still agree that there are certain stereotypes, and some stereotypes can be true. You get my point. But when it comes to the southern region, talking about looking at Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, Lesotho, Swaziland, South Africa, we are more, including even I'll say Zambia and Malawi, we are more common in terms of culture and how we behave than different. Trust me on that one.
Yes.
The only thing is we're responding to the economics of our individual countries. You get my point.
Yes.
But if you say, for example, if when I saw Nigerians, I saw a complete different set of people who behave differently and who do different things to us. You get my point. Because compared to us, and same with the East Africans, there's a huge gap when you start to go there. For South Africans that are outside South Africa, you see this mindset that says people of traveling does open your eyes, right? It does. I won't deny that. But South Africans are also hospitable because we sit in with the largest group of immigrants on the continent, and we only achieve that because at some point we are hospitable people. We are people who are able to live with strangers. You get my point? There was no way we're gonna sit with everyone if we were not accommodating. You know, if we were not having a broad understanding even in our culture where we can accommodate strangers into our homes. So yeah, man. I think we just need to open our eyes and keep open mind. You know, it's like Zimbabwe too. Zimbabwe back in the days when Zimbabwe was doing good, Zimbabwe accommodated many Zambians and Malawian people.
And Malawi.
And yeah, but I don't think the influx was similar to South Africa, but also the economy as well. I think you guys were doing good, but the economy was like not that strong, but you still managed to accommodate those people, it shows that the culture of Zimbabwe as well, it's not much different to culture of South Africa. You guys are just now responding to your economy, the current situation. You
know. Anyway, so thank you so much, guys. We've been here for a long time, but at the end of the day, no to killing each other, no to violence. Let's air our grievances in a proper way, and also let's not just follow some of these groups that are just imaging. We know there are people who come out with the right mindset, coming in together with a cause, but then it's usually hijacked by some other elements in the communities that they hijack and start doing things their own way. And at the end of the day, they tarnish and they spoil the cause, what other people are pushing. Some people might have genuine reasons and genuine causes, but because sometimes it's now hijacked by some other elements, like what we are seeing right now with the Operation Dudula and what is happening now. It comes out to be like it's Operation Dudula who are now causing people to die like this, okay? And yet maybe they're not even involved in anything, they don't even know anything that happened, that transpired that time. But, so such kind of issues already are some of the issues that we need to deal with in our communities, in our societies. But we are just hoping that at the end of the day, the root cause of all this is going to be solved one way or the other, and very soon. So thank you so much, Botha. Thank you so much, Lozi, and everybody else who joined Ziki. I've got Lenmo Nyamunda. Thank you so much. Omoluabi, thank you so much, daughter of the soil. You are appreciated. Reina Mseni, you are also appreciated. Thank you so much. This is Africa. Thank you, and everybody else who joined the live stream. You are appreciated. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep building Africa. One day we are all going to be looking at this as history. And we're going to look at this as a history. So it only begins with you and me. We are the change. Let's be the change that we want to see in our communities, okay? If you want love, let be the love, okay? If we want unity, let be the unity. So this is all I can say. Thank you so much, Lozi. If you've got anything to tell others out there, then we're going to be closing the live stream.
Okay, no, I'm just grateful of what you're doing, my sister. And yeah, I'm happy you given me this chance. I just hope that you can try to see both sides, but I think for this conversation today has taught me in terms of you, I've seen your other side, so this is good. We need to work together in the southern region, at least, for start. We need to work together. Yeah. Cheers.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. Botha, what do you want to say?
Thanks for having me in your show. I don't know what time is it in China.
It's 4:30 p.m.
4:30 p.m. Okay, cool. All right.
Okay, thank you so much. So we need to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you so much, guys. See you next time. I have put out my email address. So if you've got any topic that you want us to come and discuss, you can just email me. That email is my work email, so it's always on, okay? Or you can find me via, let me see. I think Instagram is easy because I only have one account on Instagram. That is Ziki Official. Okay, it's easy to find me there. So goodbye, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Okay.